Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of Make We Talk here on the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. This evening, we're going to speak about is gunmen targeting bus and taxi operators, and is the government of Jamaica forcing the bus and taxi operators to pay for tickets that their system has a glitch in. Is it that they're ripping off the poor, pauperizing bus and taxi drivers with the system that they have? And is it that Minister Delroy Truck is bipolar? This minute he says something, and the next minute he says something else. He's flipping and flopping and flopping and flip all over the place. So this evening, we are going to speak about what is going on in this country with the public transport sector. And for far too long, this government, led by Prime Minister Andrew Michael Holness, believe that they must continue to disrespect the poor, pauperizing bus and taxi operators of this country. What they believe that JUTC can take everybody in this country in the poor, dilapidated buses that they have, where some of the buses don't even have brake light indicator or nothing, but yet they have managers for brake light indicator, managers for the engine, managers for the wiper, managers for the headlamp. It can't continue like this. And I'm saying this afternoon or this evening that the time has come for the public transport sector must be respected by the government of this country and any other government must be respected by the government of Jamaica and Minister Delroy Truck. Want to take this thing for? Want to believe that you know some totalitarian country? Want to can talk to poor people as if they're nothing? I want to know how we put in there. And I'm going to say to the bus and taxi operators tonight, when election time come around, park on the car, not go vote for none of them. Park on the car and buses. Stop being so licky with these politicians. The time has come for us to take a stand in this country. Whether it be labor right, PNP, UCIE, never dare move, or the NDM, or any other political party in this country. We will not stand by in this country and allow a government that is supposed to be for the people, by the people, and of the people to continue to disrespect us. No more. This evening we have the president of JATU, Louis Barton, chairman of the communication department of the Transport and Roads Development Sustainable Services, the Reverend Michael Akins, talk show host Conrad Fireman O'Brien of New South 93 FM, Mrs. James, my good friend, talk show host Wilfred Rebel Rattigan.
Yes, sir.
From live on here, Mr. Rattigan.
Okay, I'm sorry, sir.
From Reggae Global Radio. This evening, we're going to dig deep in what is going on in this country. Gunmen targeting poor, pauperizing bus and taxi operators. No more. And the government of Jamaica can't solve Jamaica's crime problem. They have a system, and the man what they call what they call Canute, here, Canute, where, what they want to call him. Him knows the system. And I admit nobody else, you know. Him knows the system is a glitch. There's a glitch in the system. And he continue to promote the idea that the bus and taxi operators must pay for the tickets. When the system that raped, hello, Jeffrey, behave yourself this evening. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the people who are listening to us on the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel, please go to the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel and listen. I will not admit anybody else to the Zoom link. The Zoom link was sent out by mistake. Please go to the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel, listen, and also put your comment in. We will read them on air. So I will not be admitting anybody else to the Zoom link. So I'm asking everyone, I just send out the YouTube link. And who is on YouTube now, please share it to all the taxi groups. Reverend Finnegan and Mr. Barton, if you can do that for me, I'll be appreciated. Reverend Akins, rather. Please share the YouTube link. The Zoom link cannot accept anybody more. No one else more or whatever. This evening now, I'm gonna ask Mr. Barton. You are a veteran in this transport sector. I want you to tell me something now, sir. Is it that gunmen are targeting bus and taxi operators and the security forces can't do nothing about it, sir?
I don't know. I would have put it that way, Jeffrey. One of the most dangerous jobs in the world, throughout the world, not only in Jamaica, is taxi operators. They are one of the most endangered species throughout the world, right? As far as job-related concerns are concerned. Now, it might seem to us here in the locality in Jamaica that transport operators are targeted by gunmen. It could be so, but it is not. It is not a direct. I don't believe it's something direct. It is done on us purposely. I think it's just part of the worldwide system where transport operators are targeted. Although Jeffrey, I'm hearing that the gangs in Jamaica, they are trying to get taxi operators to do their bidding by doing whatever transportation needs they may have, and also they are all the gang leaders or the gangs are buying into the transport sector. They have their own and they get their license, and whoever they get to drive for them, those people do their bidding. But I want to believe that it is not that the gangs are targeting transport operators, because as I said before, transporters is one of the most endangered jobs worldwide, not only in Jamaica, but all over the world.
Okay, thank you. Reverend Michael Akins, I know you have to leave. So what is your views on the idea of criminals targeting taxi operators, and also your views on the idea of the Justice Minister is speaking out at two sides of him out, that taxi operators must go and get a loan to pay for the tickets that they have accumulated. Reverend Akins? Reverend Michael Akins?
Yes, sir, Jeffrey.
Yes. Your views, you heard the question I asked you?
Say that again.
The question I'm asking you, your views, is it that gunmen are targeting bus and taxi operators? And also, because you have to answer the two questions in one. Are you in agreement with justice minister that the taxi and bus operators must go and take out a loan when the government know the system have a glitch in it caused by them?
Well, to answer the first question, the targeting of operators. Of course, I can't speak directly to whether or not it is a crime and violence strategy by any of our gangs or any of the individuals who are violence producers. However, the statistics over the years are frightening. If we were to do a quick perusal of the JCF stats, we would find that in 2018, 23 transport operators were confirmed as having lost their lives in the pursuit of their trade. In 2019, that number fell to 17, but in 2020, it went way up to 34. In 2021, it increased to 41 transport operators losing their lives. And in 2022, that's just last year, 57. Wow. 57 operators were murdered. Now, whether that's deliberate or not, I can't answer, but it is disconcerting that the numbers are rising. And if we are to look purely at stats, then it means that this year we're going to jump way past 50 odd into the 60s and 70s. And that's concerning. Which means, of course, that taxi operators have, first of all, before we go to whether or not police can help them, we as transport persons must attempt to help ourselves. Persons like President Newman, who I represent here on behalf of TODS tonight, Sir Barton, who is on the platform, the heads of One Voice, have to be concerned about this and develop our own strategies to ensure that the numbers fall instead of rise. We can't, first of all, look to the police. Forget that for now. It's time that all the heads of transport operator groups get together and try to determine what we can do to stem this rise in the number of operators being murdered each year. Now, as it pertains to our security forces, well, you know, it's not really just a transport problem. Despite all the SOEs and other strategies, we seem unable to contain a number of young men, many of whom are well known, Jeffrey, by our political system, well known by our police officers, well known by our church pastors, many of them well known, but we can do nothing, it would seem, to stem their production of violence from day to day, week to week, year to year. Of course, it just touched, you know, a pastor was just killed recently. Mm-hmm. So the Jamaica Umbrella group of churches got together to determine whether or not some type of action should be taken. You know, I'm glad they're concerned, but I don't think the concern should be simply because a pastor got murdered. Every day, Jamaicans in various communities are under pressure, living in fear. We ought not to be living like this. So yes, the police and our security forces, of course, we hope that they'll do a better job in protecting the average citizen in Jamaica. Maybe we can look forward to the time when Wilfred Rattigan will be commissioner and we can speak to him directly on a program like this. We can speak directly to him and meet with him to strategize how we can ensure that transport operators are not being murdered like this. But it's disconcerting. It's a cause for major concern. And every one of us should be concerned about this rise in the number of operators being murdered from year to year.
Reverend Akins. Hold on for me, Conrad. Hold on for me, Conrad. 1 minute, please. There's a question here for Reverend Akins. I'll make him answer the question before he goes. Reverend Akins.
Yes, sir.
The question is in the chat room. And I don't know if I should even ask this question, but I have to do it. The person is asking. My first question is for you. Do you think Mr. Newman is representing the sector or representing the government? I know Mrs. Somebody asked the question. As a matter of fact, they're asking Louis Barton and yourself the question.
Well, I don't think that's a question that either Louis Barton or myself can answer, because nobody knows the motives of a human being's heart. The man speaks clearly that he says that he represents the sector. Then we have to take him at his word in that regard. Anybody else who has a question in that regard, call him, talk to him, speak to him about what the areas of his representation of which you're concerned. And by the way, you should do exactly the same thing for your members of parliament and other people who claim to represent Jamaican citizens and interests and who you may have concerns about.
Yes, I think, Reverend Akins, I think before you go, I think Conrad O'Brien have a question for you.
Yes,
Who is that?
Thanks.
Conrad O'Brien from New South 93 FM.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thanks. Hi, Rev. How you doing?
Giving God thanks another day, my brother.
To God be the glory. Great things he has done. Before I ask the question, I just want to inform all of you here that the news is reporting this evening that the light has been disconnected at the Aberdeen police station in St. Elizabeth because of non-payment. That is the perilous state that our law enforcement officers are working under. But the question I want to put to you, Reverend Aiken, before you go, we saw documentation being perused based on my position in the media. I happen to see it as well, where concern were basically, by way of communique from the Minister of Transport, was basically forwarded to the chairman of the Transport Authority. Recently, we understand that there was a standoff at the Transport Authority as it relates to a new person being appointed as the managing director of the Transport Authority. The fact that this is such a pivotal agency to your industry, do you have any concern that there seems to be some sort of unsettling events taking place at the Transport Authority that could basically impact the transportation sector? Because if the management is unsettling, with the minister jockeying as to who should be the new managing director, his direct unpicked, or the person that the board is selected. My information is that the person who scored the second lowest on the appraisal for the job, he is the one that the minister is saying should get the job. He scored 46. And there were 8 persons who applied for the job, and persons scored as much as 80%. Any concern there for you, sir?
Well, first of all, my brother, before I answer you properly, you know, we didn't read out your GSAT scores or your common entrance scores and embarrass you like that. You can't embarrass my good friend like that, man. And it's not last.
No.
It's
I am
second
not
to
doing
last
it,
in
sir.
game, sir. It came second to last.
Hold on, sir. This is something
No, I'm
that
just
is...
teasing you. Let me answer the question properly.
Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah, man. Well, there's no concern at this time, and here's why. Because information that we have received is that it has now been settled. The minister didn't get his way. Now, let's be mindful that the way we do politics in Jamaica involves the kind of under the table bargaining and one-upmanship that is quite often practiced, or the assigning of persons to positions because of affiliation to a political party, and not necessarily because of someone's skill sets or training.
Competence, yes.
That is the political course that we play on. So let's not pretend to be surprised, because
certainly, Reverend Aiken,
what was tried at Transport Authority
yes,
has been going on for 60 years.
But certainly,
Okay.
hold on, Reverend Aiken. Reverend Aiken, please, sir.
Yes, please.
Please, let me respond. Let me say something to you. I'm sure that as a man of the cloth, that is something that you abhor. And it is something that we must get rid out of our system, and we must discontinue to perpetuate that line of argument. It is
I agree with you wholeheartedly. However, I began by reminding you and our listeners about what's par for the course, because we all need to be concerned as Jamaicans. Not because it's specifically played out in the transport sector today, or over the past few days, I should say. But the way we do politics here is absolutely anti-progress and anti-prosperity. You know, now to get to the specific issue of what happened with my good friend Ralston. It's minister's prerogative, you know, to want to have his friend, or want somebody who might be more closely affiliated with him, or to want somebody who he thinks he trusts more than any other to be the head of one of his major agencies. So again, let's not act surprised about that, because I suspect that all of us on the platform here, if we were in Minister Shaw's shoes, would want to play the same game.
No, not me.
No. And Wilfred. Now, I'm not saying that because I in any way agree with it. But again, we have to wake up and smell whatever is going on here. Major transformation needs to take place.
It is
hold
wrong.
on, gentlemen, hold on a minute.
Hold on, man.
Hold on a minute for me, gentlemen. Hold on a minute for me. I have the chairman. We're live on air. Remember, we're live on the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. I have the chairman, or the communication director of the One Voice Taxi Group on the platform here now. And I want him to say something. Reverend Finnegan, what was he going to say for me, please? And I have, not Reverend Finnegan, Reverend Akins, rather. What are you going to say for me? And then I go to Reverend Finnegan.
Okay. So yes, my brother, I disagree totally with this kind of politics, but we have to understand that that's the way we have developed politics for 60 years. And I think it simply is time for a change in all sectors. We can't continue to do business like this. Now, as I said to you, the information I got just this morning is that the minister didn't get his way. And Ralston will assume the directorship of Transport Authority forthwith. You, Sir Jeffrey, and your listeners might be aware that even the chairman of the board threatened to resign if the minister had gotten his way.
He must go. He must resign and go.
The little that I know of Ralston, I am told he's a good manager, and has, of course, great potential to do great things at the Transport Authority in terms of the transformation that's needed, particularly from the perspective of transport operators. So I would again encourage, as part of the solution, that the presidents of our transport groups need to reach out right away to the new director and meet with him at their earliest convenience to put before this new director the concerns of the transport sector. Get to him quickly. And of course, let's see if he is one of God's agents of positive transformation for the sector.
Okay. Thank you very much, Reverend Finnegan of the Transport Development Sustainable Services.
Aiken.
Reverend Akins, rather. Sorry, Reverend Akins of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services. Representing.
You can mix us up in it. It's all right. It's two sides of the same coin. No, people don't know that.
Representing the well-known no-nonsense presidents of TADS, Edgerton Newman. This evening we're gonna switch gear now and go over to Reverend Finnegan of the One Voice Taxi Group. Reverend Finnegan, do you believe? Were you gonna say something, sir?
No, go ahead.
Do you believe that gunmen is targeting taxi drivers in this country?
I don't have no evidence before me to substantiate that, so I don't believe it.
Okay. All right, you don't believe it then. Let's switch to another thing then. What is your views on what Minister Delroy Chuck is saying? Because it look like him flap and flipping, look like he have bipolar. This minister says something different. He's saying that the taxi groups must go out there and get loan to pay for their ticket. The question I ask all of you on this platform this evening, especially you, Mr. Finnegan, when you had the conversation with the Minister of Transport and all the technocrats within the Labour Party government, did you all tell them that the system has a glitch in it? We're thieving poor people money?
A pleasant night to the members of the panel and to the wider listenership of the Make We Talk program. To the question that you asked, Mr. Tavares, we have pointed it out in every meeting with the various ministers of the glitch in the system. One. Two is the ministers themselves has publicly pointed out that they have glitches in the system. The system is perfect. And that is one of the reasons, not the only one, but it is one of the reasons why they would be making the tickets before 2018 be null and void. But when I addressed
2018
Minister Shaw at the the tickets before 2018, those tickets, according to the release from cabinet, will be null and void. You won't be paying them. The tickets after 2018 should be paid by the 31st of January. And if that is done, then your license will be expunged. Meaning if you have accumulated any demerit points, those will be wiped clean from your license. So that you go into February 1, when the new Traffic Act become effective, you go in with a clean license. But to answer that question that you asked, they in government know that there is fault and many glitches within the system. And I think that that is one of the main reasons why they will be making the tickets before 2018 be null and void. And the question about getting loan. When I addressed Minister Shaw after he made his presentation at Boulevard Baptist Church, in his presentation, he stated, and I quote, the thing that government is putting forward for us to go and pay a ticket, it is not a matter of collecting the money, one, it is a matter of getting in the road. It is a matter of safety on the road. When I responded straight in the minister's face, because he was sitting to my right, so I would have to turn around to stare in his face. So I did it deliberately and said, Minister, I am going to be contradicting that part of your presentation. And I'm going to put it to you that it is not because of road safety, it is because of collecting the revenue. And I gave him two examples. One is when the Honorable Justice Brian Sykes went down to the court in November and saw the crowd he immediately extended the court calls until 9 p.m., not for road safety purpose, to collect the money. He extended the court days to Saturday, not for road safety purpose, but for revenue to collect the money. When the Honorable Delroy Chuck said we must go and get loan to pay the fine, it is not for road safety. The loan is to ensure that the money that we owe, we get loan to pay it. It is a system set up and designed by the government of Jamaica to collect. In a meeting 2 days ago, I pointed out to the investors that I met with that I can understand a projection is made and the amount of money the government will raise from the agriculture ministry, because they will be putting in the produce, expecting it to produce, and they will earn from it. And I mentioned a couple of sectors that you would have invested and you will be able to reap from that investment. Tourism, you know the number of rooms that are being put up, and you expect to have what we call a booming tourism season. But I can't understand how the Ministry of Finance could sit with their technocrats and projected how much money is going to be collected from traffic fine. This is not something that you're investing, that traffic fine is going to be producing. And when they budget and projected for how many millions to be collected from traffic fine, two things happen. You have to create the environment that when you go there to work, you must have to break the law, no matter how skilled you is. And the second thing is, the police are instructed to go there and empty as many ticket books as they can. Now, when you look at even the police, the young little lads, them that just come out of training school, look like they're just in fifth form in high school. They have in the pocket that is designated on the right or left foot of the pants a ticket book, isn't it? So for the government to project how much to make from traffic fine, they have to create a system for that projection to work. And it is totally oppressive to the public transportation sector. It is very, very bad. It is very, very bad that a government could be so oppressive to a number of Jamaicans that invest in a system called the public transportation sector, that they can hardly break even. It is the only sector members of this panel that cannot increase their fare when everything around them is increasing on a daily basis. And you know what hurtful more? It is that the majority of the investors are quiet on what is happening all around their investment.
Because they're party in power. Hold on there for me now. I'm going to play a video. I'm going to ask Conrad O'Brien, Louis Barton, Wilfred Rattigan, and Lady James, who is a big investor on this platform, to listen to what these poor pauperizing bus and taxi drivers are saying, and to show you why Delroy Chuck not gonna tell the person who have the car malt on the taxpayers' land in halfway tree to remove it off a taxpayer's land and give it for a taxi stand for Jamaicans in halfway tree. Minister Delroy Chuck, you are in charge of the justice system down in halfway tree. You have camp, hold on there. Is the Ministry of Justice in the business of selling cars now too? Is one of the friends on Crown is own the car mark down there? But I can't give it me, myself and Louis Barton toward the old justice ministry, the old housing ministry in halfway tree. And we ask questions until this blessed day. Nobody can give us any answer. Who owned that car malt on taxpayers' property in Halfway Tree. Minister Delroy Chuck, Andrew Michael Holness, who owned the car mart. You're sucking the blood of the poor people here in this country. You're sucking the blood of the poor people here in this country. And the time has come for the bus and taxi. Well, me not do it tonight. The bus and taxi operators who must lock this damn country down. Lock it down, lock, stock, and barrel. Who the hell Delroy Chuck think he is? He's a servant of the people of this country. And the time has come for us in this country to say enough is enough. I can play this video. I don't know if you can go hear it, you know. Are you hearing it?
No, I'm not hearing it.
Okay, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Let me do something else here. Let me do something else because Delroy Chuck believe that the property about half. Why Andrew Holness never going to Parliament go tell the Parliament say there's squatter on the property in Halfway Tree. Somebody squatting on poor people land in Halfway Tree and get bulldozer and bulldozer it down. Why Andrew Holness never tell the Parliament that somebody is squatting on poor people land in Halfway Tree? I tell you something, you know. Something I'm broke out in the country soon, you know.
To reach that far, that I'm going to come and publicly and say they need to take out those to pay. They're not running.
I feel like I must go up to King's house and go up to the security booth and order 2 patty and a poker bread. There's a patty shop running.
If I'm running a system as far as a government system, there's no way I can allow it to reach that far. That I'm going to come and publicly and say they need to take out those to pay. They're not running a defense system. So it's a crap. The plan is you just have to work with as far as they can't lock up everybody that's voting, for one. They do have the facility to lock up everybody and they're going to be dead one. They're running a thing like it's a gangster thing they run. Like it's freedom thing. That's not the way you deal with public, especially in the government system. You cannot put a deadline on something that you let get out of country. So what you're saying, the idea, sir? You're going to come shoot me down now because of your rank. I'm not complying as I go along now. That is wrong. So that is a gangster, bad man thing them different. It makes sense?
This come like is a trickery. Because how can it publish in the Observer and the Cleaner that we get a payment plan? As I saw the word amnesty on one of the statements that was made in the Gleaner and the Observer, say we got the amnesty up to the 1st of February, where the new traffic act comes in. So I feel like I must go up to King's house and go up to the security booth and order 2 patty and a poker bread. There's a patty shop running. It must be a patty shop, or you take people for an idiot. How can you put that in the Cleaner when people go down there to the taxi them gladly comply and say them go pay them ticket now. And them go pay them ticket and them still losing them license. And then the judge is gonna reply that she didn't get any document stating that there's an amnesty. So how can you be tricking the people and telling lies and fabricate lies? And when we attempt to go and pay it now, they're still being penalized. That cannot work. So we're gonna strike again, you know? And this strike is not gonna be normal. The public sector has already complained that when we strike, it's bare chaos and problem in the country, right? And we're not doing it because we want to create an eruption and we want to pay our tickets.
Because the judge tell the people, tell we, our driver said, the Prime Minister never give her a letter inform her to that. So we just get a radar, man, nobody know the defense. So we're willing for going to pay enough man run out of the court what you know. Out of the court, I don't realize what's going on. You know, man, now go in and go take them judgment, the brethren. Man willing to do the thing. So I don't know what kind of hardball I play.
I don't feel about that. I want to say, you go for the Irish man, them and save them money.
Gentlemen, you know something? And I'm going to ask Mr. Finnegan this. And Louis Barton too. Michael Akins is here, or he left already? I think he left. When you all, I don't think Mr. Barton was there. Reverend Finnegan, unmute your mic for me. And I'm going to make Conrad O'Brien come in. When you all went to the meeting, okay? And they said that they're not giving a leeway if you go pay the ticket them. Did the Minister of Transportation went to Parliament to put something on the books to give to the court pertaining to this? You don't realize what's going on? You all realize what's going on?
Sir Jeffrey.
The court is saying something, you know. Hold on, Mr. Finnegan. The court is saying that the court have a fundamental right to say what they're saying. The Prime Minister and the Minister of National Security and the Minister of Transportation is not looking out for the interests of the transport sector. Because if they were, they would have put something in writing and send it to the judiciary of this country. Am I wrong or am I right, Conrad O'Brien? Are we for that again?
You're right.
So what is going on? You are going to a meeting with these people. And they're turning around and pinning around and pinning around and pinning around.
You're making a lot of sense, Jeff. You're making a lot of sense.
They're spinning around like a gig.
What happened? There is no, and may I say, Jeff, that this is what is basically creating the problem in the system from day one, because there is no joined up apparatus taking place. For example, and I want to basically put private operators and warning private motor vehicle owners, because as far as I can understand, and Mr. Barton can basically shed some light on this, and Reverend Finnegan as well, and my gorgeous young lady here. Shape, the truth is that I understand that people who paid tickets already, these tickets are reoccurring. Therefore, you could find that you have already, as a private operator, you already pay your tickets and warrant is out for you. And if that is the case, then certainly it's not just about the public transport operator. It has to do with all Jamaicans, and that is why I am finding favor with the latest acts from the sector, that the government should not just give time to pay, but they should write off the outstanding amount of money and allow a clean bill of health as soon, just like they're putting in the new act, a new situation, and they should have the checks and balance in place. So if not just to rush to say there's a new act that will be in by February, they must ensure that the tax office, the courts office, and the police all synchronize. So when you pay a ticket, they don't have to tell you that you must walk around with a receipt that basically faded half an hour after you get it. Those are the things that I believe that's how the sector will have to drive home that another thing that the sector must be mindful of is that they contribute to the economy of Jamaica in a very, very big way. The last time they flexed their muscle, which wasn't even a fulsome way, we gather that the productivity of Jamaican economy went down in the first day by 50% and the second day by 25%.
Hold on for me, Conrad. Somebody have a TV on? Go ahead, Conrad.
Yes, so that's the point I'm making. So what it would be interesting to find out from the players here in the sector, what do they plan to do? And one of the last thing that you don't want to, well, certainly I don't want a disruption of commerce. I want commerce to flow. But against the background of what is happening, when we know that the taxi operators or the public transport operators, that is to include the buses and the taxis that are not the JUTC, right? They contribute in a major way to the economy of Jamaica by way of moving the people. So the government must treat them with respect. When the people that Jeffrey likes to call the Vumva, what Jeffrey? Vumva,
the Vumva Van, the Vumva VM Upper St. Andrew.
Absolutely. When they have an issue, government basically lock in room with them and give them what they want. When the banking sector say, listen, we have an issue, the financial sector, they write off $3.5 billion for them, and they are posting billions of dollars per quarter in profit. So why you can't pay the taxi operators and the bus operators some attention? I think we're hearing Mr. Rattigan's voice there.
No, that's not me.
I think I know what happened. Hold on. No, it's me doing something here. Sorry, go ahead.
What are we? Those are my views, and somebody can come in. But we're interested to hear the council's view on it. Council, what is it?
I just want to I want to endorse 100% what the fireman just said, because that is the essence of our problem. We in Jatu have evidence, hard evidence, where operators paid their tickets, but they are still on the system as not paid. We have 3 different operators who can present their evidence that the ticket was paid, but it is still on the system as unpaid. Therefore, it shows that the system broke down. The system is not operating for us. It is not in our interest. Now, if it's even one, person who can show that that they pay their money and their payment didn't show up on the system, that is cause for concern. And I would endorse fully, and I in a personal way, because as you said, Jeff, I wasn't around when this started, when this negotiation started. But I would endorse fully that the government write off all the tickets that have been that people have been charged and start a new slate. But in addition to, not only because the system, not because the system not for right now. The structure we have, where you're getting tickets of the non-function of the system. For example, people, almost everybody.
Louis, I am losing you, Louis Barton.
Having
Louis?
Half it. Pick up. Oh,
Louis, I'm losing
you hearing me now?
Can you go off and come back in?
Yeah, well, are you hearing me now?
He's up back now. It's clear.
Go ahead.
It's clear all the way.
Yeah, so I'm saying that the reason for the tickets are very important. When you tell a taxi operator or a bus operator that I cannot pick up a fare between Constant Spring and Harford Street, you're denying him my income. You're telling him that I will give you the permission to operate in this area, but you cannot pick up, you cannot make any money. It is just, the system is contradicting itself.
Hold on there for me, Louis Barton. Hold on a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to welcome Lady Olivia Lindsay, who is just joining us on the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. We're talking transport tonight, Lady Lindsay. The question I want to ask you, Louis, I know you wasn't a part of the discussion with the Minister of Transportation and Delroy Truck, who believe that he is Mr. Bull Duppy and Duppy Kankara. Did you hear what these taxi drivers said? The court is telling them that nothing was sent down to them.
Yeah.
XUI, but the fact of the matter is, Mr. Barton, former Minister of Transportation, Robert Bobby Montague, said something, and it will forever stick in my head. He said you cannot take away a man's tool of trade. So if you're going to take away their license, how the hell they can pay the tickets them?
Exactly. You say that those are the contradictions that we face in the entire system. But even more than that, gentlemen, ladies, this whole system that we have need a revolution. We inherit a colonial system, especially in the corporate area, where it was a JOS, or before JOS, it was the tram cars, and it was controlled by one person. Now, the city has expanded so much in terms of population that the JOS, which transformed itself into the JUTC, cannot carry the amount of passengers. But we still have a system and laws that says that the taxis are not supposed to pick up at bus stops, at this place, at that place, but the demand for those, for transportation is there. So we need, I don't want, I hate to say transformation because that sounds too easy. We need a revolution in the transport sector. We need to change it up so that it serves people. Right now, the JUTC is slated, is given a license to operate 400 and something buses every day. Today,
400 and something dilapidated bus.
Well, even dilapidated, not even counted on that. But tomorrow, I mean Monday morning, if you have 220 buses going out, it is plenty. So there's a shortage of what the system is saying that you must operate. So the private operators, including the robots, those who have white plates are not supposed to be operated. They're operating, but the system cannot include them. So I'm saying this, and then when they operate it, the police come and the transport authority come and give tickets and summons. So we have to look at the system to say what is happening in the system, why people are getting all these tickets. That is where we have to start. We cannot just
hold on there for me, Louis. We have the president of TADS on. So Newman, you have some noise in the background for me. Can you cut it off for me, please, Sir Newman? And I need to come on.
I have a challenge here.
Turn on your TV in the background for me, sir. We have Edgerton Newman from the Transport Authority Development Sustainable Services, TADS, who's coming on. But before he comes on, Reverend Finnegan, you were saying something before I cut you off, and I do apologize about that, sir. In the discussion, did you all ask the Minister of Transportation, what have they sent down to the court office? That the judges are saying to these people that nothing was sent down to them from the Prime Minister's office or from the Minister of Transportation office. There's bangarang here and bangarang there. Reverend Finnegan? Unmute your mic for me, sir.
Yes, Sir Jeffrey.
In all of the discussion
when we met with Minister,
you hearing me?
I heard the question.
Go ahead, so answer the question for me.
The meeting we had with Honorable Delroy Truck, I personally asked the question, why were we given a press release telling us that the tickets before 2018 don't have to be paid? They are null and void. And those after 2018, we must go and pay them before the 31st of January. And when we go to the court told me personally, because I went inside of the courthouse office, spoke to a court officer, and she told me that they do not operate off press release. They operate off laws and gazette. Mr. Chuck respond by saying, when cabinet make the decision where the press release came from, it was too close to the closing of Parliament for 2022 for that press release to be passed into law. So he said to us that it will go before Parliament when Parliament convened. I said to him then, why were not another page added to the press release to say that this is what Cabinet decided, but it will not become in law until Parliament pass it? And he responded by saying, this was what should be done, but unfortunately, they could not get it to Parliament in time. So that question was asked to Minister Chuck, and the response I just gave was the response he gave to us.
So hold on now. Wilfred Rattigan, you're a lawyer. You can't practice in the land of wood and no water, where there's no justice in this damn country. What the Parliament of Jamaica did, the Minister of Justice along with Manayard, what they did, isn't that infringe on the fundamental rights of the Jamaican people?
Look, it's just mass confusion. And my suggestion, listening to, and this is an issue that I'm not well versed in, but I've paid some attention to it. And what I would say is this: the government should just, what they should do is, and I know what some people are gonna criticize me for this, because they're saying that, look, the drivers, at least some of the drivers, or maybe most of the drivers, deserve the tickets that they received, and therefore they should pay the penalty, because any other citizen would have paid the penalty, right? But because this issue is getting so much airplay, because it can be very disruptive to the society, not to mention the economy, what I would suggest, if I were an advisor to the Prime Minister, is to look, find a way, since you're coming with the new Road Act, find a way to dismiss all of these tickets.
Absolutely.
And then you start fresh. Because if you can afford to lose $400 million out of the Ministry of Health, if you can borrow $750 million from the IMF, IDB, and World Bank, and yet you can't account for every penny of it. If you can get donor funds, from donor agencies and donor countries, and you still
can write
account for
3.5 billion for the bank.
Exactly. So my argument is, you know what? Let bygones be bygones, start afresh, and then you'll avoid all of this problem. And then everyone is on notice at that point that once the new the Traffic Act, once that comes into being, that when you get your ticket, you're going to pay your ticket, otherwise there will be consequences. But for now, to me, this is a no-win situation. It's a nobody going to win, because them going to hold out, and I don't know why. Why? When you throw money out, you throw money like water. No, I'm not throwing away. Money disappear, I should say. Money disappear from all of the various ministries. Them, you can't account for that, but you're going to hold the drivers them accountable for that. And then the other thing is that what I'd like to know is how much money in total is owed by the taxi drivers, in tickets. How much money?
Billion. It's about $1 billion. But Rebel Council, hear the thing now. And I made the point earlier in collaboration with what you just said, but it goes further in terms of the chaos within the system. As I said earlier, the system is not just about the public transport operator in terms of the bundling. There are private motor vehicle owners who paid their tickets already, and they could very well find themselves in custody, bungled by the police officer because the system
messed up.
is not
Yeah.
in train
So,
to basically register. So all in all, and Ratty, you know this as you know this more than all of us. The onus is not on a person to prove innocent,
right.
but it is on the court system to prove him guilty.
That's
so you're not
absolutely
supposed
correct.
to come and tell me, say, me, if you have my receipt for sure, you're supposed to darn well I have a system that it shows that I pay my money.
Exactly.
Talk to me,
and that's why I find it so fascinating that you have a system that's malfunctioning. And then you're going, as you said, you put the onus of proving your innocence on the taxi drivers when you should be the one with your system to say, no. You know, you owe this money. Here is proof of that, and therefore you're going to pay. So you have a system that's malfunctioning. You have confusion, whereas the judge is saying, hey, I didn't receive any order saying that I should forgive certain things, and therefore, you're going to pay it, or you're going to go to prison, or both. You pay it or you lose it, you lose your license. I mean, this makes absolutely no sense. And for me, the easiest way out for the government and for everybody is just to say, look, you know what? We have a new act coming on board. I tell you what, total forgiveness. But guess what? No forgiveness once this thing comes on board. And I think that would be the right thing to do, because
and ensure, Mr. Rattigan, not because you want to meet a deadline, but ensure that the checks and balances, and this is where now Mr. Air, Dr. Lucian Jones, the Minister of Transport, and the entire Ministry of Transport, and by extension the government, come into play. Do not put this new regulation out because you have a February date. Ensure that there is a joined up system to basically capture everything once you're going there, right off this and put those things in place. I agree with you, sir.
I couldn't agree with you more.
I want to add something here. Let me just add something, because I am saying I agree with Mr. Rattigan that we should just forgive everything and start afresh. But in addition to that, it's extremely important to find out why are there so many unpaid tickets.
Mm-hmm.
There is something in the system, the structure of the system, cause us as transport operators to get these tickets. Now you have to correct those as we go along. We cannot just say, well, okay, we're going to forgive it, because what you will be doing is to build up the same problem for the future. So we have to correct.
You're absolutely correct.
The problem and correct those.
So what they should do then is, in conjunction with the forgiveness program, they should build out the system so that you don't have the issues that caused it in the first place, or caused some of it in the first place. That's what they should do. I mean, if I were advising the minister and if I were advising the prime minister, I'd say to him, look, you know what? There's a problem in the system. Fix the system. Grant the forgiveness and let's start. Because listen, we don't want to draw attention. And this is what I would tell him. I think we don't want to draw attention to the fact that we can account for millions, hundreds of millions of dollars elsewhere, and yet still we're punishing. We're going after these guys.
I think what we need to do, Rattigan and Fireman, since they're targeting the bus and taxi operators, well, we now find out how much a taxpayers' money gone down the drain and come back on this program. Come tell the people of this country, Andrew Michael Holness, Minister Ardishaw Manayard, and Dictator Delroy Truck, who look like you bipolar. Like you talk about the two sides of your mouth. We not tell the country how much money gone down the drain.
Mm-hmm.
Why are not targeting poor pauperizing bus and taxi drivers? When the system glitch, it is a glitch in the system, we're not thieving poor people. And I'm saying to the bus and taxi drivers tonight, who am Bex with me, Bex? Everyone thinking I want to say it for in business. But not say it tonight. And if Louis Barton wants to say it for in business, we're going to lock the country long.
There should be something akin to enforcement discretion. And what do I mean by that? To say, look, you know what? This problem is caused by the taxi drivers, and it's also caused by the government, because we have a screwed up system and we have some reckless taxi drivers. So here's what we're gonna do. Let's just go ahead and just fix it. Like I said before, and I've said it 2 or 3 times, just fix the system, and just grant the discretionary, use discretionary judgment and just say, all right, fine, that's the end of that. And then, now everybody knows that, okay, we're starting out with a clean sheet, and anybody who violates, they will be responsible. The only thing I can say with that is somebody who just pay, how many thousands of dollars, and now they're pure in the system. They won't say, why is it them never do it like the last week, or do I get a refund? But that such is life. Such is life. They should just grant it and move on.
We had the president of TADS on here a while ago. Look like him gone like Sammy Mouth. Mr. Edgerton Newman. Mr. Edgerton Newman, I'm asking you to come back on the Zoom, sir. Because we have some questions to ask you. And if you're vexed with me, that's your business. We have some questions to ask you. When you're negotiating with these people in House of Parliament, did they put anything down to pass in the Parliament of Jamaica for these pauperizing bus and taxi drivers? Now the court is telling them that Andrew never said nothing to give them. And Chuck, who for him mind bipolar, never said nothing to give them. And they're taking the tool of trade. I tell you something, on not go on, He'll send things go on bad in the country, On putting poor people back against the wall for far too long.
Mr. Tavares, may I address Mr. Barton and Mr. Finnegan and what's the young lady's name? She's here. I don't hear a thing from her. Is she still on?
Who?
The young lady that was on.
Miss Olivia Lindsay, she gone. But Mrs. James is a young lady, she's on. We can ask her some questions because I meant to ask Mrs. James some questions too.
Let me just put this out to you gentlemen who are in the system. And it would be good if Mr. Edgerton Newman were here. Because I want to ask, prior to, we understand that there was a kind of difference of opinion, no clear position on the way forward from the sector. You have this association pulling that way, the other one, the other way, and so on. As of today, the 7th day of January, is there a clear position from the various associations that you're on one page and you have a united voice?
Well, let me jump in on that.
God forgive you with that.
Let me take that on, because presently there's no one. Well, there's an organization, there's one voice. Well, there's no one voice from these associations. What we recognize is that all of the leaders realize that there should be a coming together so that we can represent a totality. But all of us have, well, most of us have different positions and different demands. My personal demands will be different from what Mr. Newman or Mr. Finnegan want to talk about or want to address. But
why?
It's for what? Let me give you one reason. One of my personal position on transportation is that we need a new national public passenger transportation policy where all of these things will be taken care of. Because I'm saying that where we are going now, it is a piecemeal band-aid solution. When we fix this ticket system, the system where if you get a license from Montego Bay into Kingston, you cannot pick up from 6 Mile going into Kingston. That's a problem that some of this, and it is not addressed when we talk about this ticket system. We need a whole scale. We need a total revolution, a total revolution in the system. It's a new transport operator system that we need. But presently, you have some operators who are not. Some of the leaders are not thinking about the total system. They're addressing this little spot, a little spot that we
Mr.
will
Barton.
solve this. But as far as what one is, as far as like parking is a major issue, but it is not addressed in this system, in this present debate that we are going through. So there are many different parts of transportation sector that needs to be addressed and needs to be approved, but we are only concentrating on some individual parts, which is like putting Band-Aid on a sore.
But Mr. Barton, I love to ask this question. I love to ask this question because sometimes we have to break down things in a very segmented, and also to really and truly, look at the issues that confront us immediately. Now there are some things that are immediate. For example, you guys talked about the whole business of your operators facing the possibility of going into jail, losing their tool of trades, etc., etc. So isn't there an ABC list that you have, or a 1, 2, 3 that you say, listen, this is what we need? Because all of what you're saying, those are indeed long-term. Certainly, this is not going to happen. With what you're talking about can't happen even within Q1 or Q2 of 2023. It's going to take time for the system to basically synchronize with all of those things come into being an overall thing as it relates to what you're talking about, where you set down people, etc., etc. But there must be a short-term plan with this ABCs and or the 1, 2, 3 that you have to basically stem the immediate problem that you are facing now.
Yeah, I agree with there have to be short-term solution to our immediate problems. But
because
you're trying to concentrate so much
on that. Because it's important, because if you don't have a position on that, Mr. Barton, with due respect, all you guys are doing is running mount. And you have to come with a unit.
Hold on for me, gentlemen. Gentlemen, hold on. Put on the horses. Hold on, pull up. Put it up, gonna gear in a neutral. Hold on for me now. Mrs. James, want to say something? I'm gonna allow Mr. Barton to respond to Conrad O'Brien, then Mr. Finnegan, then I have our good friend from St. Thomas, who is great-grandfather lead the rebellion. Sir Clark, to come on.
I want to hear the lady's voice.
So we're gonna ask Mr. Barton to say what he has to say. Then we go to Reverend Finnegan. Then we go to we go to Lady James first. Then we go to Reverend Finnegan. Go ahead, Mr. Barton.
Oh, all right, yeah. No, I just want to conclude. I'm saying that yes, we have to deal with the short-term problems, but we cannot, in dealing with the short-term problem, we cannot ignore the long-term problems. So I'm saying it's not just one or the other. It's a comprehensive, a getting together. If we're going to talk about how we deal with these tickets now, then we are talking about how are we going to deal with getting these tickets? Why are we getting these tickets? How are we going to solve that? How are we going to deal with parking? Because parking is part of it. So some of the long-term problems is also in the short term, and we have to address them in a united way, not in a peaceful way. I might be talking in a highfalutin way, in a way that is from talking from the heart. It's talking from the heart, more or less. But it's something that we must address. While other leaders in the sector are saying, let us solve this ticket right now. Let us go out and get some money to pay it off. Or let us borrow some money to pay. Let us do something with let us talk to the government so they can come with a solution. So there are many different ways to go about it. And that is why we have many different associations. We're trying to come together, but because of those differences, it is holding us back.
Mrs. James?
A pleasant good afternoon, good night. Depends on wherever you are in the world. I've been having my hand up for a while because as an investor, I just need to show some reality reality with regards to this ticketing system that is gonna be impacting the transport. I'm talking about a employees to pulls over that driver, takes that driver out of the vehicle because he says he has a warrant for him. Leave the stuff on the side of the road, not going anywhere. The tourist bus that is actually going to Ocherias can be pulled over. The driver is taken out and the tourist is left stranded on the side of the road. Now, these are realities we need to look at seriously and how it's going to impact not only the income of the investor, but the country in general that's going to be impacted. Secondly, with regards to even the tickets that are outstanding, maybe it's about 17,000, I understand, persons who have outstanding tickets that deems warrant or whatever. Let us look practically between the government and investors how we can handle it. Because these drivers cannot afford to be getting these loans to pay back the tickets. They cannot afford it. And fourthly, we need to look at the investors sitting down with the Minister of Transport, sitting down with Transport Authority for the way forward. I hear on the radio today, a lot of things coming Monday morning and what is expected of the drivers, the owners, and a lot of things. We need to sit and work out practical ways on how to save the transport sector. If not, the whole place is gonna be in shambles. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Wilfred Rattigan. Mr. Reverend Finnegan. Reverend Finnegan. Okay. Sir Clark. Sir Clark from St. Thomas. Are you hearing me, sir?
Yeah, man, I hear you, but I'm going to
You're live on the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel.
Yes, I'm
Your
going
views on what Minister Delroy Chuck is saying about people must go collect loan to pay whatever when a system now work. Like look like him have bipolar.
Oh, what a rat race.
Hey, you call me name.
They said they're running and they're running and they're running away. Running and they're running and they're running away. They can't run away from themselves. Pop, pop, pop. Let me answer it this way for you. Obviously, one of them have autism, one is bipolar, one is fast asleep. I think
which one asleep?
Jeffrey, you want to put me in trouble tonight. They don't know that Chang fast asleep. That's why I cry out of running spiral.
Oh man, no fast asleep, you know. Why you want to say I can't sleep on here? Anyway, we talk about transport tonight.
Anyhow, let me get to the meat of the matter. The truth is that the transport minister, the security minister is playing some three-card game because they kept playing around with the whole issue of this ticket thing, and this is successive government. Let me put that into context. This problem is not just 4 years ago. This problem is not 2 years ago. This problem has been going on for quite a number of years. Jeffrey, you and I was on a show some months back with Radcliffe Lewis. And Radcliffe Lewis told us that the problem with the ticket system is that it passes through 5 agencies. And because it passes through 5 agencies, there is a glitch in the system and persons are fast asleep at their desk. So there's not proper accounting or recording. So when a person pays a ticket at the tax office, Elliston Road don't know say it pay. Elliston Road still have it on their books as being outstanding. And then Elliston Road will go to the courts seeking a warrant to execute on said driver. Now, what I want persons to understand, yes, they must say, boy, the dirty taxi boy, the dirty busman, and yeah, man, them drive nasty and them nah no behavior. Hello. It's not just bus and taxi man, this thing is going catching up. This thing going hit even the private motor carriers, motor vehicles.
You just came on, man, because we ventilate that. We ventilate
hold on, fireman. Hold on, make him talk, please.
I am touching key points. I know you may have touched it already, but what I'm trying to get at is that this thing needs the attention of the entire driving public. Everybody needs to be to pressure the administration to remedy the issue, because you're going to come out with a press release that say pay this and do this by this time, but yet the time period is a very small window, and then when the persons go to court, the court is saying, listen, that has nothing to do with we. No, I think that is an insult to the people of Jamaica, and people sitting idly by saying nothing because them no want to touch because of them party. Let me tell you something. Party or party not. The truth is just the truth. This thing is going to cause mayhem in Jamaica. You know how much taxi man and bus man gone to jail already? You know what happened the other day? A taxi man that run from St. Thomas got arrested on a warrant, and he was put in Central in the lockup. You know what happened to that driver? He was severely beaten. Hospital pick him up. I don't think he will recover up to now. You know why? You know what happened to him? He's an ex-warder, and somebody identified him in jail. And I'm understanding that there may be some issues around the warrant, that the warrant is not warranted.
What? You lost us there. Somebody
identified that he was a former warden, prison warden.
Mm-hmm.
So he was beaten severely because he used to be a warden. Wow. So what I'm trying to say is that, and what we are hearing is that the warrant that he was taken up on, it may not have any merit because his tickets were probably dealt with already. So what I'm saying is persons are being picked up on warrants that they have paid the tickets. There was a case where a gentleman was picked up on warrant, taken to court, and paid, and it was paid already. Him get arrested again, he went to prison on it. Same tickets, you know. And he come out back from prison and then pick him up again on the same ticket, the same very tickets.
Wow.
One of the problems with the system also is that they're trying to trick the drivers into producing a printout, which is a form of admission of guilt. Because when they try to find the tickets in the system, the tickets are faded because of the type of paper it's printed on. So this thing is far-reaching. It's creating a serious situation. And I think somebody needs to really move a serious court action. Because you see what they did with that man housing case is waiting at 2023 before it reached back to court. You know? And look how long he went to court with it. And people are still being arrested or prosecuted under the same breach.
Hold on for me. Where you're watching and listening from around the world in the Eastern Caribbean, this is Make We Talk Transport on the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. Like, share, and subscribe. We're talking about the transport sector in Jamaica. Is it in crisis? Is the Minister of Justice Delroy Chuck bipolar? By telling the people of this country.
Why are you asking that of the minister?
Is Minister Delroy Chuck bipolar? He said one thing, this minute he said something else. He flip and he flap, and he flap and he flip. By telling the taxi drivers of this country that they must get loan to pay for their ticket. Andrew Holness went to Parliament to justify bulldozing down poor people off of government land. Why Andrew not going to Parliament to justify that them put somebody on taxpayers' property in the heart of halfway tree? Get bulldozer down the carry them from off of it. You can't tell the people of this country. You and Delroy Chuck, Prime Minister Holness, hold on there, fireman. Can I tell the people of this country who own that Carmarthen taxpayers' property? in the heart of halfway tree. And the friends and cronies own it. The Ministry of Justice is in the business of selling cars. Is the government in the business of selling cars? We don't know. We need to ask questions. On pressure and poor people in this country. On not go on. Till a revolution happen in the country, you know.
Jeffrey.
Yeah, we said, hey, don't make a talk on things about this program tonight, you know.
Jeffrey, you're waxing war, man. One of the things that I learned, and I'm sure that Ratty operate under the same principle. When we ask questions, we normally have the answer, you know. So I'm putting it to you now. You have the answer for the question. Of course,
I the answer.
All right.
Me know over camera.
All right.
No, I'm talking about the bipolar, I'm talking about Jeffrey.
Jeffrey, hold on.
No, I'm not going to ask Jeffrey about that because the first thing I would just say, I don't know that Jeffrey is a medical person to have any pronouncement on that. So I leave that one outside the half stump. But the other question now, he just answered, he said he has done his due diligence and he knew exactly the answer for that question. You went busting.
Can I answer the question with a question?
Hold on, Marcel. You talk about the plot of land.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
No. Here's what the government or the prime minister. Here's what they'll say. They'll say if you're trying to compare to what happened in St. Catherine, they had information that criminal activity was afoot, right? And they don't have any information that that's going on here. So what they're saying then is that if you occupy government land and you're peaceful, then you're fine. But if they suspect that there is criminal activity,
hold on a minute. We want to find tonight, you know.
No, why you start?
We want to ask Prime Minister Holness.
Yeah.
The woman who was locked up for selling lands down at Clifton, is she a part of the Klansman gang?
No, that's a good question. Excellent
question. Excellent question.
Yeah.
Is she a part of the Klansman gang? Because you justify if them bulldozer down poor people of a government land. And you have your friends and cronies, you and Delroy truck, for taxpayers' property in the heart of halfway tree.
Well, Jeff, me don't know if the Prime Minister or the Minister of his friend, their friend.
You won't let your business.
I don't know if Ratty know, but you know.
Well, here's what I know. I know that they're not poor people.
Listen,
Go ahead,
Mr. Clark.
Sir.
Go ahead.
The same land in St. Catherine, maybe the new home of a brand new Chinese restaurant and a supermarket, you know. But the question I want to answer is the car mart that you're referring to in Halfway Tree. And I'm going to answer it with a question. Isn't the same Halfway Tree in urgent need of a taxi stand?
Ask Louis Barton. Louis Barton and myself went to the opposition leader's office, Mark Jefferson Golden, and he promised me and Louis Barton for what he killed Philip and Philip dead. So now walk with me. And no, Mark, now walk with me.
Well, Carlo,
you catch me.
Hold on. I am with you.
Hold on.
No, I'm with you. I'm saying call him out. Remind him, call him out.
You hold on a minute. When I say no better bar, no better hear you vex with me. Well,
I disagree with you, but I'm saying to you.
You hold on a minute, man. You hold on.
No, man, I'm supporting. I'm saying to you that if you had a situation with anybody, the leader or the prime minister, and they forfeit, call them out.
Yes, man.
Louis Barton and myself, with a bunch of other people, meet with the opposition spokesperson and transport to my good friend Michael Phillips. I know Michael can work with me at the old housing ministry.
Call him out.
I know Mark Jefferson Golden can walk with me.
Call them
out. Call him out. Yeah.
And the poor paparazzi, hold on, man, make a talk, they sitting them in the morning here.
Go on.
And the poor paparazzi in bus and taxi drivers, them. You don't hear nothing from Mark Jefferson Golden Mouth? Well, at least my good friend Michael said something. But you hear Mark Mouth, Canada Pong. I telling the bus and taxi drivers of this country, you don't go vote for none of them. When election time come around, you gear back smash up, you can't go nowhere. I don't mean you no good. And some of these so-called president for these so-called taxi group, them in the back pocket of politicians.
The host of Make We Talk, Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel is on fire this evening. Normally, I goes by the name Fireman, but what is happening right now, Rante? What
Some of these so-called presidents, me know Louis Barton, no taxpayer, no politician packet. And me know for a fact, when it come on to Reverend Finnegan, him no them back pocket.
Clean like a whistle.
Him talk and talk up the things. The time has come
Tavares,
for bus and taxi operators to say to the government of this country, enough is enough. Uno come together and stop being so divided.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Jeffrey. One of the things they say, and Conrad asked earlier why we're not getting together, why we're not talking together. I just want to point out one of the things that kind of hold us back. It's not a major reason, but you have to consider that there are over 40,000 licensed operators in the system, right? Now it's very hard. Each of those individuals are individual business people, and they will look out for whatever they consider their personal interests. And most of them, I mean, absolutely most of them don't consider joining in another organization, with another operator or with anybody else to further themselves. They believe that they can get ahead of their colleagues because they're in direct competition with the person who is running on their routes and everybody else. So that kind of militate against any kind of coming together. It is necessary, and at times that they will recognize that you must come together to do something, to get something done. But that is just
I'll point them to one sector in this country. I'll point them to one sector in this country over the years. The security guard sector. Where are they now? I am asking the taxi operators, owners, management, just a man who have in one car, you sleep on my deck. Come together, understand that this is a sector. Because first thing to begin with, if you get the sector together, you don't even have to run just a proper system set up. You go in your park, the first person who come, he or she loads, because women are in the sector. And it goes like that, and everybody can make a money. When the system is basically hear 'em, scare 'em, it's pure problem.
Yeah.
It's pure problem. And it behooves us. Louis talk about something, President Barton talk about something when he came on, and he mentioned about his garb that he dressed in, and him talk about, he examined himself and said, boy, he was wearing clothes, and not even socks, no make a Jamaica. Pure foreign thing, and provide work for other people. We need to look at things that are important, and the little man or the big man who in the sector need to understand what time is it. I am not at all. Jeffrey is very strident as to what should happen. I am saying that the dialogue needs to happen now as it relates to what government is doing as it relates to the transport sector and themselves. This sector represents big stake in the Jamaican economy, and the country could come to its knees if we have a disorderly transportation sector by way of the transport operator withdrawing their services and so on for any protracted period. If transport workers decide to hold strain for 3 days, this country is in serious trouble.
You know something? Yeah. There's a man they call Robert Bobby Montague. And who want vex, who want please. I lift my hat to Robert Bobby Montague. For one reason.
He'll be back in the cabinet.
Or many reasons. If Robert Bobby Montague was the Minister of Transportation, you don't hear something good.
Will he be brought back to the fold?
Hold on, man. If Robert Bobby Montague was the Minister of National Security, not the Minister of National Insecurity and Injustice, not the Minister of National Insecurity, the Police Federation will have their cars and the police will have their ballistic vests or they have their guns to go home with.
But the people,
because hold on, man. But because Robert Bobby Montague black, they can go down the road now. Because Robert Bobby Montague is a black man. Come from St. Elizabeth.
No, St. Mary.
St. Mary rather. And his father, a black man. And the one who was the Minister of National Security, him a Caucasian. You don't hear the people of the Vumvavan or the Vumvavi calling for him to come down. But when Bobby Montague was in there, they say he must step down. And there's a bunch of set of hypocrites. And the Labour Party, you told them racist in the Labour Party. Put back Robert Bobby Montague either as Minister of National Security or Minister of Transportation.
No. I am.
Let me talk, no man. You hold on a minute.
I am rooting for my good friend, Doctor.
You hold on a minute. Because I want to war party tonight.
Dr. Sapphire Longmore. Dr. Sapphire Longmore as Minister of National Security. Bobby can go transport. I am rooting. Conrad O'Brien. I am rooting. The fireman. I am rooting for Dr. Sapphire Longmore, Minister of National Security. Her skill set is legendary and she can do a good job.
Fireman, you hold your horses now, no? Hold your horses. Robert Bobby Montague, the son of the soil of St. Mary. My good friend, Owen Brown is online from Roots from Owen Brown come from St. Mary. Put back Robert Bobby Montague as Minister of National Security or Minister of Transportation. Because if you put Daryl Vaz as Minister of National Security, dog name was up in this country.
Jeffrey, Mr. Finnegan have his hand up.
Mr. Finnegan, go ahead, sir. Sorry, go ahead, sir.
I want to respond to a statement made by Sir O'Brien. And he said that can't remember if it's O'Brien or Conrad. But the statement is that
the same thing.
That Conrad Rattigan. But the statement was that people might be upset with him for saying, because they have always been saying that the taxi men must go and pay their ticket because they ramp up their tickets based on their bad behavior on the road.
That was Mr. Rattigan. Mr. Rattigan said.
All right, 3 years ago, a survey was done. I think it was led by Reverend Al Miller within the public transportation sector. And the result that came out that it is 11% of the public transportation sector operators were considered as being maimed and out and bad out on the road. If that survey is correct, then there is 89% of our drivers that are out there doing well. But the perception is out there that everything that goes wrong, once it has to do with motor vehicle, it is the taxi operator. But when we look at the data before us, the actual figure that is before the road safety unit that the government has, and when we look at the statistic that the police has, it is stated and it is clear, it is repeatedly said, even by Mr. Kenwood here, that the public transportation sector is not within the top 3 of the carnage on our road. Even with those evidence before us, government, the media, the commuters, and the citizens of this country continue to blame the operators. The top 3 is the pedestrian, the motorcyclist, and the private cars driver, not red plate. And it is so bad that when that Jamaican mash up the place over in the airport, where it was, Mexico.
Yes.
Somebody called me and said, Mr. Finnegan, we asked you to check out quickly if it's a taxi man mash up the airport. So just want to make it clear that even though we're getting so much blame, we are and the out and bad and those that are creating name on the road with red plate, bus or cars, they are in the minority. It's in the minimum. But as we all know, the few corrupt police within the force, it is giving the entire force a bad name.
True.
5 years ago, when they started to lock up the ministers them for molesting underage girl,
Which one of the ministers then?
The first 3 that was arrested. Yeah, but then the whole ministerial fraternal get the blame for it. The other thing I want to respond to is a question that was asked if there is any unity within the leadership of the public transportation sector.
Yes, I asked
in regards to we speaking in one voice and in one accord on the issues. And I hear
Hold
Mr.
on, Conrad.
Barton,
Hold on.
Hear Mr. Barton respond to it. And I am saying that there is no oneness within the sector from the leadership of the public transportation sector. I remember we sit at a particular hotel dealing with some of the issue of the sector. And the investor says that we must speak with one voice. We must come together as one umbrella. And one of the leader in the sector respond by saying that the public transportation sector is like a cake and everybody has a slice in it. And I respond and say, there should be no slice in it for anyone. Those investors are investing to make money. We that put ourselves up as leaders in the sector to represent the sector, we should not be looking for any slice of any cake. If there's a cake, then the cake will be for all of us. And so it goes to show that there is no unity from the leadership level within the sector. Mr. Barton said we have been attempting to get everybody to speak as one. Yes, the attempt is made, but within that attempt, people show their color up. People show what are their main intention. People show who they represent. And when you see that showing up in meeting, you will realize that Mr. Barton is right. They are attempting to bring it under one umbrella and unity, but it is not working. I am the youngest kid. I am the youngest kid on the block. And I am on a record. Well answered, Jeffrey.
Go ahead, sir.
I do nothing between the 3rd day of November 2022 and now without consulting investors that are in the business 40 years or over, or close to 40 years. Every time I come up with an idea or decide to step out to do something, I do 2 things. I call President Edgerton Newman. I hear him every now and again saying that if he don't get no call from anybody else, he can expect my call every morning. I consult with him. 2 is I will meet him at his office, on his veranda, or anywhere he is, and it is a burning issue. I call investors. One of the person that I had always asked to get my meetings together is Mrs. James. And I remember on one occasion, she said, Mr. Finnegan, who is calling the meeting? Is it one voice? And I said to her, no, I am calling a meeting with the investors because I am out here representing them. So I don't want to go there and say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing. So I said to her, get these 6, 7, or 8 investors. You decide on the time and the venue and let them know it is not a one voice meeting. I sit with them. So far, I have had meeting with 4 different set of investors to get their opinion on the way forward before I make any move. And I believe that those of us that take up the responsibility of representing the sector, if we have no investment in it, then we must always bring investors to the table, one, and consult with those investors. So the answer directly to the question, is there unity among the leaders of the sector? And I'll tell you, no. And if you need all the evidence, I can give you. There are somewhere about 37, 3,700 to 4,000 route association across the country. I am not sure of that figure. I have not checked it myself.
So 37.
37 route taxi president. And as far as I'm concerned,
go ahead, Mr. Finnegan. I know he's traveling to Portland, you know. So I think he's going in and out. Mr. Finnegan, are you there? Oh, Lord. The communication between Reverend Finnegan and ourselves is going.
It is not sabotage. I'm a sabotage.
They are some.
He's back.
I'm on. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you now. Go ahead.
Yeah, those 2 groups, Taz and Jatu, has been out there for years doing what they can for the sector. And I get a report today that 2016, when Jatu called on the sector to fund legal representation for the hack that we have in problem with now, they did not get that type of support that they need to get the type of legal representation that they wanted. And now they had to drop the ball where it is because they couldn't go forward. No lawyer going to court without being paid. Now that hack that Jatu and Tads was trying to meet with government within 2016, it go and it passed. And now we are now having the problem now to find the clause and the section that are oppressive to the sector, and now to go again and seek legal advice to see what we can do to either get government to relax on those measures or to take out injunction against it. We will not be able to go forward in a meaningful way without that type of unity amongst all of us that call ourselves leaders within the sector. And until that day come, we are going to be continuously pulling each other aside and going in each other's direction. The most recent one is we are looking at Plan B, which I cannot disclose now, should in case what we expect from Parliament Tuesday doesn't come forward. I met with some investors about my Plan B plan and getting their advisors, investors on it, and then getting ready now to discuss it with the other leaders, only to hear that the other leaders were having discussion 2 or 3 days ago. And if I didn't call some investors in a meeting, I wouldn't be aware of it. And what do you think would have happened? I would have gone ahead by myself to do this when the other sectors, the other representatives were by themselves setting up the same plan without any consultation with the One Voice group. And it was when I said to the investors that now that I get your input on it and advise me on the way forward, I'm going to the table now with the other groups. And somebody said, no, Mr. Finnegan, the other group discussed it already. I was supposed to go with 3 of our operators to meet with a lawyer 4 times now, 3 times last year, which I could not have make it. And they keep putting it off. Yesterday, I said to the operator, go, don't put it off because I can't be in Kingston. But ask the lawyers these questions for me. When the operator called me, he said that the lawyer said that she heard about me, one, and two is the matter has been discussed with her by other groups. The point I'm trying to make, I am ready at all times to share every idea I have before moving with it, with other leaders within the sector and with investors. But then when they come up with their ideas, we don't hear about it. And that is why I want to join with Mr. Barton when he said there's an attempt. And we don't want to attempt to be united in this thing. You don't need to attempt to do it. It is easy because we are not representing 2 or 3 sectors. It is one sector. And all we have to do is come together on each occasion and look at the issue and put that issue to the relevant authority that it must go to as one body, not as studs, not as Jatu, and not as one voice. And that is why every time I say Mrs. James or any other investor, I need to have a meeting and they ask the question, is it a one voice meeting? My answer is no. The fact that I call the meeting, it's not a one voice meeting. And that is where we are going wrong. We must have unity. You know, I said when I was over Tajana, that the government ministers of Jamaica are laughing at us simply because they realize a group come to the minister, and by the time they leave the minister, another group go to the minister, and then you have some individual association president go to the minister, and the minister just laugh because they realize that everybody coming individually, and everybody coming representing themselves and not representing the sector, and that is a major problem. When the police ready to bargain, they go and have meeting with their members first, and the members give them the directive that they must go, and they go around the bargaining table representing who? Their members. They don't go into a meeting representing the government or representing themselves. The final thing all of them do the same thing, man. They meet with their members. I said to the one voice executive, I take directive from the members of one voice and from the executive. And even if my opinion differ from them, I will have to respect their opinion. So they say, when you're going to the meeting, ask that we get 50% fare increase. And I think that we should ask for 30. I can't go ask for 30. The membership send me go ask for 50. And that is my position. The final thing I want to say is, we are here discussing a national issue that not only will affect the investors and operators, but as I said to Mr. Chang and Mr. Chok, that it is going to affect the public transportation sector in general, and it is going to affect the economy. So if they believe taking out 10,000 drivers out of the system, an investor told me yesterday, said, Mr. Finnegan, you're gone too far. 150 drivers taken out of the system in Kingston, whether losing the license or gone to jail, is enough, because we're looking at out of that 150 driver, maybe 50 or 75 bus. And just think about that amount of bus parked within the KMTR. But if we take out 10,000 drivers out of 37,000, we are crippling the economy. And I've pointed out that out to the ministers. So now that we are on this program, discussing this national issue, I would love for us to pay direct attention to the issue, one. Two is all the ministers that are involved, including the Prime Minister. We criticize and discuss presentation that they have made or may have made. But wherever we go with the criticism and the discussion, criticize what they say, criticize the office they hold, but let us not get personal and criticize the individual. I don't want to be a part of any such type of discussion. And I've said it when I was at TADS, and I said it in one voice. We must be able to disagree with the presentation that an individual make without being in disagreement with the individual. Don't
Amen.
don't
Amen.
get personal
Agreed.
with the
Agreed.
criticism.
Agreed. I want that said, if I may, through the host, Mr. Tavares, may I jump in here, sir?
Before you go in, you can go ahead because I want Owen to come in.
Yeah, I just want to put a question out there, and this is specifically to Miss what's her name, Miss oh gosh, just hear her voice saying amen there.
Okay, that's Mrs.
James.
Yes.
Yeah, Mrs. James, and also Mr. President Barton, and indeed the Reverend Finnegan. I want to ask a question here. What we're seeing playing out in the industry or in the sector, is it taxi politics or is it PNP, JLP politics we're seeing raising its head in the sector?
Well, let me jump on this because I am trying to see where it is. I would say it is taxi politics. As I pointed out before, the bottom line for transport operators is that I have one taxi and I'm competing against the guy who is running the taxi beside me. So it is more taxi, the individuals trying to make something for themselves more than the PNP, JLP thing. The PNP, JLP politics comes in after. But the primary motive for transport operators, for them not coming to meeting, for them not participating in an entire cooperative agreement, cooperative action, is individual. There are individuals who not seeing the totality that we need to come together to take action.
What about the leadership? What about the leadership? The leadership, are we seeing the PNP, JLP politics among the leadership? So for example, the leader from various sector may be connected to one party or the other. For example, be supportive of the present administration. So they believe that, listen, we are not going to support a shutting down of the system or even a strike for a day or two because we are going to make our government look bad. Are we seeing some of that raising its ugly head in the transport sector, Mr. Barton, President Barton?
Yeah, Conrad. That is operating there, where you have some leaders who are, some of them are JLP, some of them are PNP, and they influence their members based on that. But we in JA2 recognized that problem sometime before, and we went out and appealed to individuals within those associations, and we get the response of these individuals who want to feather their own nest. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. They are looking out for their own economic interests. Their association leaders might boost them, might curry favor them into one way or the other. But the individuals, they are the ones that we appeal to, and we get the same response. I think right now what is happening is that the individuals are looking out for themselves as individual business people. We have to know how to get around that. There were some time in the past where there was a government policy that came down that cut back on the amount of seats that was supposed to be given to each unit. Like a car was supposed to carry 3 passengers and a bus supposed to carry 12 passengers. And that affected
29, they cut down to 22.
Right, but it affected all operators. And at that point, almost the entire island came out and unite against that, against those policies. So if you have a national policy that affects all of us, then we can do it. But for example, another thing is that some time ago when they raised the toll fare on the east-west toll, east-west road, we As some of us in the Kingston area decided that we should just go out and hold up some placard at the entrance to say that we disagree with it. We wasn't asking for no demonstration or nothing. Just show the government that we disagree with the increase in toll. And it's only 2 people came out to that placard holding thing, me and Mr. Newman.
But Mr. Barton, remember, in all of what is happening in Jamaica, politics rear its head at all times. And secondly, there is a lack of trust.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is that what is the motivating factor? The politics comes after,
Trust.
People respond to their basic needs. So I think people respond to their basic needs, and then the politicians come in and try to influence you to whatever position it is.
People don't trust, Mr. Barton, people don't trust the leaders, quite a few leaders of the transport sector.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, James, what I'm saying is that the trust.
Mr. Barton, allow her to touch something very important there.
Hold on for me, hold on. Hold on for me, please. Hold on.
The lady touched something very important, the trust in the sector. So some people don't trust some of the
leaders.
Yes,
Mr. O'Brien, hold a while for me now, please. Please hold a while for me. We have Owen Brown from Roots FM here who want to say something. Mr. Brown, unmute your mic for me, sir.
Good night to your distinguished panel, young men and women on the panel. Good night.
Good night.
I was just really listening to the conversation. I would love for Mrs. James to continue and actually expound on why is it that there is no trust. Because that's a major issue. If there's no trust among leaders, then I think that there'll be no effect then. Because if it is that operators are even within the leadership, if there's no trust level, then there'll be no action, and persons will not be able to speak, or if it is that they have any concern, they won't go to somebody or say something about it, and then the issue will continue. With what's going on in the transportation sector, I think there needs to be, especially now, that unity. There needs to be that trust. There needs to be that voice. And I'm not just saying voice, bless up Mr. Freddie King with the one voice, but that one effort where persons see that, all right, the transportation sector is serious, and they want to ensure that the concerns that they're getting from operators, because operators do have concerns, they're going to pay their ticket and they're being arrested. They're on the road and arbitrarily they're stopped, and the first thing they say, give me a license, and they are facing it. So the issue is actually then how it is that there will be that single unit or unity in the sector, that the government will see that, guess what, these persons are serious and we need to listen to them. And I think that's the issue. There is no unity, and so the government is not listening. There will be some sprinkling here or sprinkling there, probably a one group said this or one group trying that. And because of that, the effort is not seen, and it's not just seen, but also effective. And I think the sector definitely needs to shake up and do better. Sir Barton, bless up yourself.
This is James.
I hear you, brother. But I just want to get back to this trust issue. I'm saying the trust comes in after your basic needs. Our basic need is how to make some money. Because as simple as I take it, we're business people, he taxi because he wants to make some money to feed his family, right? So as long as you can satisfy that basic needs, then you will bring in everything else, the trust, the political association, the who, all of that comes in after. But the basic thing is that you want to make some money. And as long as we enjoy to organize based on that, we know that the operators want to get some more benefit, want to reduce their cost of operation, want to increase their income. So we organize based on that. That is where we are right now. Everything else comes to who trusts who the button. Those are the things that comes into effect the basic needs of the operator. That is where we are. And that is where I'm saying the trust comes in after, and the political associations comes in after. It is not a priority. It is something that comes after we have made a decision on what to do, how to do things.
Good.
It is now 9:17. Hold on for me, fireman. It is now 9:17. Wherever you're watching and listening from around the world in the Eastern Caribbean, this is Make We Talk. We're talking transport. We've been talking transport from 7 o'clock. So we're gonna cut off anytime soon. But before we cut off, or before we go to somebody else, fireman, our good friend Wilfred Rattigan is on. And we want him to unmute his mic. And I want Wilfred, although he's not so versed on the whole transport thing that's going on in Jamaica. I know he said that he would advise the government to do X, Q, Y, Z. What is your advice to the transport groups and presidents, Mr. Rattigan? As an attorney at law, although you don't practice law in Jamaica, but as an attorney at law.
Well, and I'm being facetious, they could have me represent the entire sector, because then I would put things in order with the government, because I know how to deal with governments. But having said that, and I'm just being facetious, I forgot, I think it's Mr. Finnegan, I can't remember who said it, but he said, look, they're all in the same sector, and they should act in accordance with how the police and other homogeneous groups, how they deal with the government, in the sense that you have a leadership, and the leadership responds to the members. And then once they have decided on a plan of action, then that leadership will take it to the government, sit around a table, and hammer out a deal. You can't have people, you can't have a fractured, there's no such thing as a fractured unity. You can't have, the same sector and you have 3 or 4 different groups plus individuals seeking an audience with the minister, because the minister is going to play everybody. He's going to, and like you said, the minister is probably laughing when he sees this, because, well, in this case, he doesn't have to divide them because they're divided already. All he has to do is just conquer. So half his job is done by the internal dissension. So they have to find a way. And, ego is a hell of a thing, I'm telling you, because some people, they seek it out, and others, it's like it's central in their life. Some of them, like I said, they seek it out, and some of them, it's like it's central in the way they do business. And if we can just leave the egos aside and say, look, it's one organization, it's one sector, and so we have to speak with, pardon the pun, one voice to the government, because that's why the government can stand up and openly and brazenly say that them not make nobody intimidate them and this and that, because they know the sector, the leadership, is fractured. In fact, you have different leaders within the sector, so they know that they can pit one against the other, and that's the problem. The problem is, how do they come together and speak with a united voice? Even if they have different leaders, how do they speak with a united voice? And it shouldn't be difficult, because we're not talking about, we're not talking about something that's complex. I mean, this is fairly simple. It's about people operating within a space, trying to make money to better their lives, right? And and essentially it is getting in a motor vehicle and moving people and moving goods. Shouldn't be that difficult. So my advice to them is, if they need, I have I have a lot of experience working with governments, and especially this Jamaican government. They wouldn't want me sitting on the other end of the table against them. But they have to find, the sector has to find good, trustworthy, strong people who will stand up to the government and say, no, this is what they want, and if it means we have to shut the whole thing down, then fine. But then again, the other thing is, you can't shut it down and do it for 1 day and 2 days, and then you come back and then because you have to ask yourself, what did we gain by this? there has to be some benefit if you're going to shut the thing down. It has to be we're going to bring the country to its knees, and the government will be forced to deal with us as human beings in a respectful manner and treat us the way they would treat other sectors. Otherwise, it's a waste of time if you're just going to do it for one day and then go back to work.
Yeah.
That's my
Just a second. Just a second. Just a second. I also think that the question that Conrad rose regarding politics, or which type of politics is being played out, I think that is also I wouldn't say even a minor factor, a major factor in also how some operators do respond, and not just operators, but leadership respond to whatever action or it is that will be taken. So to get the politics out of it, it's gonna be rough. But if it is that politics is out of it, I think it would be much better. Having persons who probably say they are affiliated with, especially with leadership, is gonna be a major problem. Because if you have some that's not with the government, they're gonna be full force. Some who's with the government would say, no man, don't bother. And then that would be a tug and war with who to or who not to, because then again, based on their affiliation. So I think that's a pertinent question as to the affiliation.
All right. Well, the question that Conrad asked was whether or not there was taxi politics or real politics, party politics. And I believe the answer was that it's taxi politics. So now that you've said, well, there are some people in our organization, they're driven by party politics. Now that's a different. Now you're putting in a variable in there that wasn't there before. Well, how do you deal with that? The problem is that things are so politicized in Jamaica that it's difficult to get somebody who's going to be objective, somebody who's going to give you an honest opinion and say, okay, this is without being influenced by the politics, by whether taxi politics or real politics. So you may have to look outside your organization for that kind of assistance. Somebody that they'll look to and say, okay, all right, fine. This person has no axe to grind. This person is not influenced by, party fear, or favoritism, or favors. And so you may have to look outside the party, maybe outside the country. Outside the part, meaning outside the sector, and maybe even outside the country. But that one is gonna. If that's the case, there's no way you're gonna be able to resolve this with the leadership that you have right now. If everything is driven by party politics or taxi politics, it's because then the issue is how do you present yourself then as a person who's dealing with clean hands, meaning that you're not tainted, you're not leaning to one side or the other, but you come in and you're just looking at justice and fairness. How do you do that if you're already tainted by taxi politics or party politics?
Well, I don't want to look at politics in a negative way, because I'm saying that taxi politics is the way to go. The politics is that you're looking for policies that advocate for your members. So I don't mind taxi politics. The problem that we have is that when the national political party get involved in trying to direct our policies, our transportation policies, that's the danger. But there should be no danger in having taxi politics. But let me just add something. Let me just add something that I left out before. Another problem is that Lower Barton, I am president for JATU. Now, I don't want to lose that position. I want to stay in that position. If I am moved out of it, then I will lose my whatever benefits I might have, whether it's personal benefits or financial benefits or whatever. So that is something that we have to take into consideration when we're cooperating with each other. When Louis Barton and Finnegan and Newman and the other transport operators from the rural areas get together, we have to recognize that we as individuals have certain biases, and we have to overcome those biases. We have to say, well, okay, Lower Barney, you are not an articulate person, so let Fidikin talk for us. You can probably do the accounting. So you go and do the accounting. We have to recognize our strong points and keep it that way for a united front.
But let me ask you this, Louis. Let me ask you this one question. Hold on a second, Carl. Let me just ask Louis this question. What would you say then is the major difference between, I think you mentioned 4 groups. What is the major difference that's preventing these 4 groups from becoming one? Apart from the ego and that you don't want to, persons don't want to lose their positions of prestige and benefits and so on. Apart from that, what is the major difference between the four groups?
Right, the 4 groups that we have now.
Yes.
I don't think that there's a difference.
So there's no difference in why you have 4 groups.
If we get together and talk, I know these people I'm talking about, these 4 groups, I know each of them. And if we get together seriously and talk about where we're going forward, it can happen. We are on that track right now, but it takes time because of the individuals. Each person have an ego, and we have to just get over the ego. But I'm saying my view is that the ego is not important. It can be overcome, and we are reaching that point right now. The unity that we seek for the entire sector throughout Jamaica is harder to come by because it have to do with different licensing, the politics, the party politics come into play there, and area politics and all of that. But the 4 groups that I mentioned, we are on that track right now as we speak.
Why then? Trust is a major factor. Members don't. Before I leave, because I have to run to another Zoom meeting.
I don't want you to leave before I say something. I'm begging you.
Mr. Finnick has up his hand way before everybody else,
I see in a month's time, One Voice got the people's trust. And let me tell you, that was a major earthquake in the transport sector. Comparing to 20 odd years what other leaders were trying to do. One Voice got the trust of the people just within a month's time. I gotta run.
Mr. Finnegan?
Yeah, and the matter of politics, you see, within the groups that Mr. Barton mentioned.
Before Mr. Finnegan, go ahead.
The politics is not raising its ugly head in some areas. It is full until it's overflowing. We have been in 4 meetings, and I'm referring to 4 specific meetings now. 3 of them was 5 meetings. 3 of those meetings was with the group, and 1 of them was with a particular minister. And a member of that group, in every meeting, when he opened his mouth to speak, he started by introducing himself, which party he supports, he's committed to the party, and he is not hiding it, and he don't care what anybody wants to say. Now, as far as I'm concerned, every one of us support a party. But when you get around the bargaining table, the negotiating table, the discussion table, the meeting with government ministers or whoever, party should come last. That is my position. I said in a number of meetings, I said, gentlemen, when we go into the meeting, the minister is there representing the government. The minister come with his lawyer, his communication specialist, and his personal assistant. They represent the minister. If it is a meeting that the media come, they represent their respective media houses. Those of us that goes from the public transportation sector must represent the sector. We can't be going into meeting representing government. And I've repeatedly said, there's a gentleman in the sector named Mr. Everton Styles. Every meeting we have, gentlemen, he said, let us meet 15 minutes before, discuss the issue. So we go in the meeting and one accord, one voice. We discuss the issue. We allow Mr. Styles to steer the meeting. And by the time we get in there, somebody gone off different from what we discussed in the 15 minutes. And by the time we come out of the meeting, somebody gonna have one-away meeting with the minister. So the politics is right there. And I make my position clear enough. They call me anti-government because I don't go into a meeting and tell anybody which party I support. And when somebody was beating up on me and I call the person off here and explain my political alliance, he offered me a job in a government agency instantly. And I said, brother, I don't want it. I don't want no government job. My position is I have served to the constituency level with 6 members of parliament in Jamaica over 3 parishes. And when I go into a meeting to represent any organization, my party politics come last, it don't exist, it don't come nowhere.
Amen.
And when I walked out of that umbrella group meeting in December, my position when I stand on my feet is, how can we come here representing the sector, but sit defending government and sympathizing with government? And then everybody now tell me that I'm bullying government and holding government hostage. My position is clear, gentlemen. I'll tell you in 2 seconds. I stood up against an American bishop some years ago. And when I was taking the other bishop to the airport, he said, Reverend Finnegan, for you to excel in the church, you must be friendly with the bishop. And I said to him that the only way I want to excel is based on my performance and my qualification, not friendly with the bishop. I saw a message come from a government minister. And when I look at the message, I said to the person who got it, call the man and tell him that he's not doing anything for us. He said, Mr. Finnegan, I can't do it. The man is his friend. And I said, oh, your friend come into this? And it hurt to my bone. I don't drive a taxi. I don't own a taxi. None of my family members own anything in the public transportation sector. But it hurt my bone when I look at investors' money going down the drain. When we look at the tunnel that is before us, gentlemen, the only indication we get is if something don't change within the next 21 days, buses and cars are going to be parked on the street side, in garage, in their parking lot, in their carports, because there will be no drivers. And the leaders of the sector not seeing it. Mr. Style don't speak a lot, but I don't know how many of you have ever spoken to him. The man has a commitment to the sector, even though he don't speak a lot. And when he goes into a meeting, don't matter how hard he tried to steer that meeting in the direction of the sector, some other leader take it out of that direction. And we cannot continue that way. It is not hard, Ratigan, for the sector to be united.
That is how the trust comes in. This is where the lack of trust comes in.
It is not hard. It can be united. We tried it.
Can I say something?
And it was working until people start show up their political color.
Can I say something?
One second, Sir Brian. What kind of close relationship I could have with any government minister that when I go into a bargaining table, a negotiation table, a meeting for the public transportation sector, I going to keep quiet on the sector business because the minister is my friend? Then do I work being a leader in the sector? And that is the situation we are facing.
I'd love to hear what that gentleman said before I leave, please.
I just want to say this. You see, I report the news, and I'm driven by evidence. And indeed, whether you guys want to dice it and splice it, there is a major problem at the helm of the leadership of the various groupings. Mr. Finnegan, Reverend Finnegan, a few weeks ago, had various meetings at the 2 major television stations. He caught a position and said, this is where we were going. And one statement was being issued by Mr. Finnegan, and another was being issued by Mr. Egerton Newman. I am not casting any aspersion as it relates to any political affiliation there, but certainly to the public, it sends a signal that there is a great divide at the top of the totem pole as it relates to the taxi association, and it is basically buttressed by the party politics in Jamaica. You can't have a situation where one of your sector leader just led a protest at your two major television stations, iron out a point, and in the next breath, there is something coming from another leader of the said sector. You guys are not looking credible at all.
Not looking good.
Not looking good.
No.
Not looking good. And if because what happened, as I said before, my interest is with Jamaica. The public transportation sector play a major role. I don't even know if you guys understand how significant you are. And as a result of that, you need to leverage that awesome power that you guys have in order to get government, not to get to its knees relatively, but in order to pay you the requisite attention that you all deserve as any other sector, whether it be the Medical Association of Jamaica, the Medical Doctors Association of Jamaica, the nurses, the teachers that will shut down the schools. You guys need to have that. The wardens who will hold the whole prison system ransom. You remember when Justice Sykes was about to be sworn in, was offered the job as the Chief Justice.
Yes, sir.
And there was
a
probationary period. Suggest you guys recall what happened with the judiciary?
We remember quite well.
Jamaicans.
Remind us.
Yeah, man, the
entire
Prime
sector
Minister
come together and basically bring a halt to the justice system because they would have none of it. And Mr. Holness, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, has to acquiesce to the judiciary. The transport sector is an awesome sector. Demand the respect that you guys deserve. The argument here is not about whether taximen are in discipline on the road or they are not. It's a wider discussion as far as I understand, where there are some systemic problems in the sector that need to be dealt with, and you must put that out there forthright. I posit the view earlier that based on the breakdown of the system, the encumbrances, the all sorts of issues that are there in the system, and my brother Counsel, the rebel Rattigan, he basically buttressed my point. My friend out of St. Thomas, Mr. Clark also, although he came in later, buttressed the point and said that, listen, we have to understand that you need to speak in one voice. You need to speak in one voice. And that is very, 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 very important. No pun on you, Mr. Finnegan. But you have to approach this thing in one voice. I look forward, because I think this is my final thing. I look forward to engage you in further discussion during the course of the week and my program. I'll have dialogue with you between tomorrow and Monday morning, sir. And also, Mr. Barton, and I'll engage you and see how we can basically flesh the thing out further. Because as Mr. Finnegan said, Reverend Finnegan said, I am foreseeing a lot of chaos in the sector within over the next 20 or much days or so. It's going to impact our school children. It's going to impact the economy. And we don't want that. I think government should allow good sense to prevail and forego this money that is outstanding. Fix the system and hold people accountable going forward. I rest my case.
You know, I sit here, you know. I got a message from a family member of mine. And I have to do the honorable thing and apologize to Minister Delroy Chuck. Because if I don't apologize to Minister Delroy Chuck, I will be greatly chastised by the member of the family of the Tavares family. So let me apologize to Minister Delroy Chuck. But
Yes,
one
sir.
thing I will not apologize about, let me make it clear. I am not going to apologize about the idea of them having cars and taxpayers' property in halfway tree. I'm not going to apologize about that. And calling on them to tell us who has the car mart and taxpayers' property in halfway tree when the transport sector need a taxi center. And they need to tell the people of this country. So if my family member want Bex with me tonight, he can Bex. So in blue.
Cockroach your business in a fall fight.
All right, so Jeffrey.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Jeffrey,
go ahead.
I am happy you apologize, sir. I'm really happy that you did. Mr. O'Brien.
Yes, sir.
The television issue, you see, I went to Eros Circle for a meeting.
Yes, sir.
And between 10:35 and 1:35 p.m., I got a couple of calls that our drivers were being locked up and losing their license. I called one of the presidents of one of the association and I said, this is happening at the court. We need to know, allow the country to know that what the government tell us in the press release is not what's happening. The leader turned to me and said, Mr. Finnegan, as far as he's concerned, nothing like that is happening. I jumped in my car, 4 of us, and we drove to the 2 courts, South Camp Court and Melbourne, where I have first-hand information on what was happening, speaking to court officers, and saw a private operator, elderly man, crying tears. He said that he has to drive for work for the last 21 years, and he lose his license. He said he came based on the press release and lost his license because he has a number of points. With that information, I called back the president. And I said, President, is first-hand information I'm giving you. We need to make a joint statement. The president tell me, no, let us watch and see what is happening. No, I couldn't watch and see what is happening when 17 operators get locked up already. So I called my members on the platform and I said, I want 50 drivers to come drive with me, go to CVM and TVJ. Why I respond to it is to let the panel know that I did not just jump up and go to CVM and TVJ without informing other leaders within the sector. In fact, when I get the report what was happening in the court, I could have gone down to the court by myself, go on TV and CVM if I was egoistic and trying to get credit for myself. I call the leader with the saga at the Transport Authority. When the gentleman was being appointed and the minister stepped in, want to appoint second to last. I call a president and I said, let us put out a joint statement showing our support behind the decision of the board and our support to the new managing director. The gentleman tell me, say, no, remember, this is a political appointment. Mr. Volan, man, the man is appointed. The board appoint him. So make we now go out and make a joint public statement. The point I'm trying to make, I am trying at all time that anything goes out as joint statement. All the groups saying the same thing.
No one man band.
Now after that television interview the night, text messages and phone calls went out to the route taxi presidents. I don't know how many of them, but quite a lot across the island. And then messages went out to some of the local taxi group. And the message says, don't protest, don't withdraw your service, because the matter is going to cabinet Monday. Parliament is going to sign off on it Tuesday, and there's going to be an announcement Wednesday. Now, if I was an operator and I heard that, it is quite possible that I would have got to work. I am not fooling. I might, because the message come out. We have marathon meeting with government official. There's going to be, no, for 3 weeks, gentlemen, we gave a letter on the 15th of November to the minister, the 16th of November. And 3 weeks later, no response from the minister, no response from government. And then all of a sudden now we hear that marathon meeting was held. Cabinet went deliberate on it. Tuesday, Parliament went pass it. Wednesday, there's going to be an announcement. 2 weeks after that, no announcement.
The center cannot hold.
So who met with the minister on your behalf?
Was I finna laughing at you, sir?
Yes,
sir. Hold on, Cameron. I love the situation. Hello. As far as I'm concerned, you see, these presidents of these taxis association, why the hell they not gonna run for politics? Why the hell they not ask them minister or them party to put them in some bangarang in a parliament?
Mr. Conrad and Mr. Ratican, both of you might not have known, so I refer to you directly. We present 3 letters to government. I personally walk with 3 of those letters. The fourth
you
one
told me when I interviewed you the last time. You give me that information. Yes, you did.
Yeah, no, but I don't know about it. Go ahead, Sam. More hear the rest of the story.
After 2 to 3 months, or a little over 3 months, no response from those 4 letters. Remember now, I walked with 3 of them. I didn't participate in the last one. But no response from those letters. Not even to say we have acknowledged the letters and we have put a committee together to deliberate on it. Nothing.
Below crossroad.
Now, 3 or so months after that, I said, no, man, this thing can't continue. So I mobilized the 14th parish and tell them to stay home the 14th of November. Government, the private sector respond about 4:35 p.m. and government respond later in the evening. Only that one of the response from government that says they're going to meet with the sector turn out to be a state of public emergency. and then 1 o'clock, we met with the minister. The minister instructed us what to do. We did it on the 16th. And 2.5 weeks later, no response again.
Oh, God help us, Lord.
So when you look at the question that was asked by Mr. O'Brien, the politics, ugly head is in the middle of the leadership of the public transportation sector. A leader said to me when I was looking out, Mr. Finnegan, everybody have their political allegiance. Mr. Them not have to, but I don't bring it come a meeting.
Same stuff.
When one vice send me to meeting, I forget about everybody else. You know? All I can think about is the public transportation sector. When I go down to the court, I ask about the public transportation sector coming to pay the ticket and get locked up.
But you know something, Reverend Finnegan and gentlemen and ladies on this platform here, my good friend Owen Brown from Roots FM. You know, I am not laughing at Reverend Finnegan, you know. I am laughing at the situation that the public transport sector face. Because you have some wannabe politicians in the public transport, at the helm of the public transport sector. And that is why people don't like me when I talk, you know. That's why members of my family don't like me. Because my gearbox smash up, I need a 7 or 11. You can't go need a forward, backward, no way, just neutral. And if you are gonna run an organization and you can't be neutral, it don't make no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. The country is in crisis from all different angles. Corruption stinks to the highest heaven from all different angles. Are we gonna continue like this as a people?
It can. You look at this position I take recently, see? And Mr. O'Brien draw reference to when the Prime Minister insists that Justice Sykes must go up on 3-month probation. The lay magistrate came out. The Bar Association came out. Civil society came out. Even the church came out.
Yeah.
I said, them never hear of a Chief Justice go on probation. And they stood their ground. Now, now another situation come up before us now, where the board of transport authority, which we have a vested interest in, make a decision from the day I born, you know. Church, school, sports, wherever you take it, is first, second, and third a prize, you know. We never hear about 4th prize yet, you know, much less 6. And the man performs 6. And the minister decided to appoint him. And I said to the sector, we make a giant statement and commend the board and show our support behind the board. And we're going to hear that is a political appointment to appoint somebody that get less than 50% mark. That comes 6. The news keep on prettying up that he comes second to last. And some of us believe that second to last, maybe third. 6.
Another brand.
Yes,
How
sir.
much did he come?
Second to last.
How much?
Second to last, O'Brien.
Second to last.
The center cannot hold. Major anarchy upon the land. Major anarchy upon the land. Jamaica. You know, people may say, boy, we are here talking and we are this and we are that. I am saying to us tonight, as a people, we the people have the power in our hands.
Absolutely.
We lies with the power in our hands. The public transport sector have the power in our hand. You all vote and put them there. You don't have the power to do what you want to do. Stop listening to these wannabe politicians who are present for these associations, some of them. Well, them think about is a political affiliation when they can't get a in their pocket. The time has come for us all to stand up. Louis Barton alone can't stand up. Reverend Finnegan alone can't stand up. What is wrong with you all? Stop this PNP and JP background in this country.
Mr. Newman alone can't stand up.
Him stand up already. I'm a friend now, but no, Edgerton Newman is my friend. I'll say this publicly. He's my friend, but he's something I don't like. And Newman must stop with politics in a public transport sector. Newman must stop it. If Newman is affiliated with the Labour Party, then stay there. But don't bring it in the public transport sector. Don't tell us about no government and no money. How the hell do you know government and no money, Edgerton Newman?
His advisor would tell him that. His chief advisor.
Him is another one.
Who is the unofficial advisor for the government.
Jeffrey, there is a thing with some of these people too, you know. You call them PIP. So they need a Labour nor PNP. Them a party in power. That's how some of them behaving.
Oh.
Yeah, man.
The government changed them.
Party in power. PIP. Party in power.
So Louis.
So if the PNP gain state power tomorrow, you see them jockeying because they want to be in the loop. As son of them people around here state.
So Louis.
Party in power.
Louis, like
Yeah,
what you
yeah.
have on that red shirt.
Yeah, man. Well, if I have a PIP,
Louis, what you say?
Look, we can't hear you, man.
My position is I understand how, yeah, well, I understand how the party politics have the effect that the party politics have on the associations, but I would like to differ, to emphasize that is the politics in the transport sector. And why I'm doing that is because how do you organize? You have to organize based on what the bottom line is. And I'm saying the bottom line is we in the sector, we have to organize ourselves. We have to get together. We have to move forward as a group. And we can't depend on the people on the outside. The people on the outside will have an effect on us, but let us de-emphasize them and try to get together. I consider myself a reasonable person. I could work with them. I could work with other people who are probably not reasonable. But as long as I have the interest of transport operators in mind as priority, I can deal with it. It's going to be a long process, but it can be done. It should. That's the only way we can move forward.
Mr.
And as
Barton,
Conrad said, it is absolutely important that we have a transport sector.
Mr. Barton, President Barton, if the government continue along this trajectory that they're on now, and everything goes for the 1st of February, is the how would the sector look? How would the sector look? Paint a picture for us.
Well, as far as I see in it, we already have a shortage of drivers in the sector. And that shortage of drivers can be seen at any peak hour in the KMTR and other major towns, Mandeville, Maypen. You can see the crowd at the different locations. Now, that is because there's a current shortage of drivers. Now, if the present projection by the government of taking away these operators, asking them to borrow money to go and pay for licenses, which money they don't have. And let me just point out, they say there are 1 million tickets outstanding, and each ticket is an average of $3,500, $3,500. So you're talking about $3.5 billion that is owed. It's not just one. It is not just 1 million tickets. It's $3.5 billion. We don't have that to pay. So if you cannot pay that and you're already short of drivers, then in the future, in the very near future, come February, if all of the drivers decide not to work so that they won't get any more tickets, then you're going to be the sector will be shut down. Is it a shut it down, or the driver is going to be charging up more tickets because they will be getting more tickets for operating without the proper
10 o'clock.
Without the proper requirements.
But
Good night.
The question must be asked though, and I know we all have to go soon because our good friend Wilfred Rattigan look like him dozing off. Will, eating gone. You know, we're here and we're talking about the public transport sector. I know Reverend Finnegan is maybe on his way home, may God go with him. But the fact of the matter is, yes, the fact of the matter is, where do we go from here? Although I know Conrad asked a question. As a sector, where do we go from here? In the sense of, is it going to be business as usual, wherein the government hold you all at ransom by saying you must pay the $300 billion out of $1 billion? And when $1 billion is being paid, the road then now fix. The road in the problem condition same way. You're dropping on my path. Well, I remember one time when Roger Clark, the late, my good friend Roger Clark was alive. And our good friend Mutty Perkins, at that time Roger Clark was the Minister of Road. and Mutty Perkins was interviewing Roger, talking about the road from Savlamar to Negril. And when Mutty said to Roger, said, but Minister, that piece of road from Savlamar to Negril, what is going on with it? By the time Roger started talking, the phone cut off. Here, Mutty. The minister dropping the pothole. I think we should send out the JD for him. The question must be asked now. Are we gonna continue like this as a people in this country? Where when taxi groups send letters to the House of Parliament and to the Prime Minister's office, they don't respond because them is a Dan and them are a dictator? Huh?
Yeah.
And yet
I'm thinking
years,
that
hold on, Louis. And every 5 years, we go out and vote for them same way. Are we gonna continue like this as a people? When are we gonna wake up and say to ourselves, enough is enough? We can't continue like this as a people.
Yeah.
So,
Jeffrey, I think that because we are poor people, we in this society, we in this Jamaica, we have no regards for poor people, poor, powerless people. Unless we get together, and this is the bottom line, unless we get together and show and recognize our power and start to assert our power, then we're not going to get anywhere. The few people in the PSOJ or PIOJ, whatever it is, all of those organizations, they have asserted themselves and they are powerful. They are powerful with money and they are powerful with they recognize the power and know how to wield it. Right?
But
if we don't do that, then we're not going anywhere.
Louis, we the people who live below crossroad, we have the power, you know, because we didn't come to the vote. They come to us for the vote.
Power, but we don't recognize that power, Jeffrey. We like you will recognize the power, I will recognize it. But we as a group of poor people, we don't recognize that power. We as a group of taxi operators, we don't recognize it.
And also, Louis, what we must do, we must strip away, we must do the proper examination. Look at the people who treat the majority with disrespect. Don't meet with them, no do nothing and throw it down. And I don't believe that we must basically lump all the politicians in one basket, because we have some politicians that basically treat the masses much better than some. And against that background, we have to look at the two evils that we have and decide where do we go as a people. You have to support. You understand what the point I'm making?
Yeah, I agree with you totally. But we have to strategically identify. You know, when they talk about spearfishing, I want to start spearfishing the politicians, because there are some people who we can depend on, who we can probably turn their mind to advocate for us. Just like in the media, there are some media operators who we can say, well, yes, I know that this person will give us a fair hearing. And we start to spearfish these people because the media have a whole lot to do with our country.
Absolutely.
Yes, good night. Right. I think, Mr. Barton, also in answering your question, you know, from Mr. Conrad, I see come February chaos in not just the transportation sector. There'll be chaos in the justice system, especially with the courts. There'll be chaos in filling up of lockup centers, the police stations. I do not think that the government is really thinking about this, because if it is that they're going to lock up everybody with X amount, there will be chaos. There will be chaos. Essentially, there will be chaos. When it comes on to lockup, when it comes on to the justice system is already burdened. Remember, persons are getting date up to 2026. Imagine with the addition now, how far will it go? The justice system is to some extent, they're trying their best to clear the backlog, but a lot is going on. So I think they should really consider what's going on or what will happen come February, because there'll be a lot going on. Talking about warrants, talking about lockup. And then also, if it is that they take out, say, amount of person, how will the people move? Because remember, the transportation sector is a major part of the economy.
Indeed.
But Mr. Brown, you're asking where they're gonna lock up the people. The Governor General don't live at King's House, you know. And there's how much room they have at King's House, Canada, Brian?
How much room?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, all they can do, you know.
Them not give me no tour.
It's when they lock up the people, them.
You know, there's one there for the king that basically clean every day and very, very prestige. And that is, as a matter of fact, that is the talking about that. The first tranche of the budget, the Jamaican budget, goes towards the maintenance of King's House because it is called the King's House and the king could descend at it at any time.
Not to mention that they just put in an elevator the other day.
Yes, the GG can't walk the staircase anyway. Jeffrey shut him out.
Yeah, everybody else could have walked except this one now.
Reverend Finnegan, before we go, you and the One Voice group did an extremely good job a couple days ago by helping a young lady who was burned out. And it is a constituency of the mayor of Kingston and St. Andrew, brother. Williams, MP Williams is the MP for down there.
Central Kingston.
Where name?
Central Kingston.
I don't know if Central Kingston or West Kingston. Where Kingston them?
East Kingston.
No, man. East Kingston and Port Royal, that Philip Paul was. Central Kingston is the mayor's brother.
All right. Oh, yeah. It's Central Kingston.
Yeah.
Yes. And I get to understand that all know him not meet with the young lady. And it takes a taxi group, the One Voice taxi group, that the same government is refusing to meet with because they live below Crossroad. They are the one who went down to Kingston, downtown Kingston, to help the young lady in little Nix Knock and Nix Nook and Nooks Nooks. So we are calling the Prime Minister tonight. See, we can build house, give somebody, other people. Build house, give the young lady, no? Why is it the MP can't meet with the young lady? Is why she's not from the Vumvavon or the Vumvavi.
Oh,
she the phone, you know.
Or maybe our blood not so green.
Or the blood is orange. Anyway, it is minutes after 10 o'clock. We're listening and watching from around the world and the Eastern Caribbean. This is Make We Talk with Jeffrey Tavares. And the Make We Talk, Jeffrey Tavares, you're not going to hold on there. You wait a minute. Bye-bye. Your final word, Wilfred Rattigan. Then I go to Mr. Finnegan.
Yeah, as always, it's a pleasure being on the forum. I learn a lot, and I hope that, you know, the few words that the words that I utter, that people will find it useful, will find them useful. It's sad though that, you know, you see a group, you know, and again, I use the word homogeneous because it's not like they're all Black people, they're all involved in the same sector, and somehow they just can't seem to get it right in terms of unity. And we talk about it all the time, unity, unifying force, this, that. And yet when it comes time for us to do it, we fall woefully short of the mark. I think it's going to take a strong-willed person to kind of rise above the fray and discharge the duties necessary for the government to come to its senses in dealing with the group. Because otherwise, once you remain fractured, and it's not just this government, any government, they love dealing with fractured groups, you know, fractured parties.
Government love it.
Yeah, they love it. Yeah, they love it. Because then they can do whatever they want to do. And then, you know, then they don't have to worry about it. And especially when, you know, they know that politics, you know, is involved, it makes it doubly difficult to get done. So my advice to the group is, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, is that you may have to look outside and beyond the group itself for somebody. And I'm sure they have negotiators in Jamaica. But then again, we don't know if they're going to use their political affiliation to, if that will influence them. But I don't think the way the group or the sector is constituted right now, that it will, you know, it will prove useful and beneficial and successful for them. I think there has to be a reformulation of how they do things, because otherwise we're going to end up a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, we're going to be having the same conversation. How do we get groups to unite with a common purpose and a common goal to approach the government? So my advice is look outside. Otherwise, we just continue down this path, and then, you know, we end up just having this discourse as I don't know, as a social event, and nothing more than that. So that's all I have to say.
Mr. Finnick, Reverend Finnegan?
Yeah, it is a pleasure we have this discussion tonight. I'm really very happy to be a part of it. My major concern right now is what is going to be happening in the sector another 2 to 3 weeks from now, because I am not seeing any indication of any changes from the part of the government. I'm not saying there won't, but I'm not seeing the indication. And even if Tuesday announcement from Parliament would be in our favor in the sense that the law is passed, the court, as I have pointed out to Minister Truck and Minister Chang, that if all the operators were to find their money, the court could not accommodate them within that short period of time. So there's going to be an extension. And the response is that the government is under pressure to bring the act into effect come February 1st. But what I can tell you will happen if the government have its own way is that there's going to be a fallout in the sector without there being a protest. There's not going to be any groups that I know of that is going to be calling any protest, any strike, any demonstration, and that including the One Voice. But sorry about that. Yes, but the members of the operators will be withdrawing their service by force, because when they see the wholesale locked up of their counterparts, their colleagues, then they are going to be deliberately staying away. The government will have to change its position. And if the associations, if we the leaders in the sector keep quiet as we are presently now, then the government is going to take it that it is business as usual. Remember now, the operators and the investors are not in a position to represent themselves individually before government. And so we that take up that responsibility as leaders within this sector, we must act decisively and we must act right now. If not, else not, there is no doubt that there's going to be chaos within the public transportation sector within the next 3 weeks. And I'll close by saying, we have record that is before me. It could be more, but there are 30 drivers that left the island of Jamaica because one of them have on his ticket would be $876,000. And he's looking that if the judge double it is 1.6 million. I don't know what is the figures for the rest, but they are taking the chance gone overseas. That is 30. There's an operator that loses his license and he has 3 vehicles. And he called me to say, what is he going to do now? Because when the present license and them expire, he can't sell them, he can't transfer them, and he can't drive them. And there are several others that the report has not come before us as yet. The point I'm trying to make is that in excess of 133 drivers are already out of the system. Those that are out because they lose their license, those that run away, and those that have not come back to work since the 14th of November. So with that type of people exiting rather the sector, we are expecting more to come. Finally, one operator, female, called me today, and she said her brother was locked up today on warrant, and what is happening, other drivers who know our brother quite well have decided not to come out on the road on Monday. Not that they are withdrawing service or protesting, but when they see what happened to somebody that is close to them, they are now seeing that the same knife that stick good, that knife is going to be sticking sheep. So we have the crisis coming before us. But gentlemen, thank you all for being here. And thank you for having me, Mr. Tavares. And thank you for apologizing to the minister. And I want to say the next time, try and see if you can get Mr. Everton Styles. He is in my
Mr.
view.
Finnegan,
Yes.
Mr. Finnegan, with all fairness, you know, Edgerton Star was the first person I invited on the program.
Everton, not Edgerton.
Everton Style, yeah.
Yes.
That was the first person I invited on the program.
Yes.
And for some reason, tell me he can't come on. So I reach out to my good friend Louis Barton because Louis I come ready now. and Louis and I are very good friends. Not because I'm a comrade.
Oh, you say you're labor?
Me not answer you.
You say not because I'm a comrade.
Aye.
So what are you insinuating?
Portia,
right.
hello. Portia said anyway, Jeffrey, shut up. Reverend Finnegan, thank you for coming on.
I thought you said to you.
Because my counsel, defend me here. What the man said a while ago, don't he insinuated something there?
Yes, indeed.
I'll do it. What that mean?
You not pulling me out this evening.
My dry out, Jeffrey, my dry out.
He's not denying it.
I must say thanks to Reverend Finnegan for coming on. But you know, we're here. And you know, I mean, Louis Barton, your final word, because you know, honestly, I don't know. Louis, your final word.
Well, final word. The way we're going with the present impasse, present problem we have in transport sector is to solve some individual problems. But I have to kind of step back and look at the overall picture. I would like all the leaders, everybody on this platform here now, and probably the wider public, understand that Jamaica don't have a transportation system. We need a transportation system that carries passengers from here to there. And what we have now is just a system that within 2 to 3 years is either we have to get a fare increase, which is another patchwork, you're going to put in a band-aid on something, or you're going to have some road problem and that will be fixed, just like how you might get a fare increase. And then the next thing is that you're going to be solving a ticket problem. But all of these will be band-aided. We need to get a national public passenger transportation policy, because there is none exists. There is no policy in Jamaica of telling you how to get from Kingston to Spanish Town, how to get passengers from Kingston to Spanish Town in a decent way. We don't have that, and that is what we need to solve most of these problems. If we don't have that, gentlemen, with dog nyam supper.
You know, the kingdom must fall as we fight for the power and the glory. Jamaica, Jamaica, Jamaica. Where is this country going? Are we becoming a banana republic? Is this country a sinking ship? Corruption stinks to the highest level. The education system gone. The health sector gone. The security system gone. The transport sector going. There is no leader.
Is there a bomb in Gilead?
Is there a bomb in Gilead? The center cannot hold. Major anarchy upon the land. Mayor and occupant on the land. Canada Brian, your final word, my friend.
My brother and friend Jeffrey Tavares, you have been a good host. I want to say thanks for, acknowledging that you went very hard on the minister and you did what you had to do, and that's good. I enjoyed the discussion. My friend and brother, Mr. Barton, President Barton, and we will talk, Mr. Barton, and also Reverend Finnegan, our sister there, Mrs. Lawrence.
Mrs. James.
Mrs. James. I'm remarrying her, my goodness. And also the man out of the East, Mr. Clark, the great-great-grandson, and our partner in crime from Roots FM. Yes, our partner in crime from Roots FM. That's Mr. Owen Brown. And indeed, the illustrious counsel, the man himself, Wilford, the rebel, Rattigan.
Future Minister of National Security.
In waiting. In waiting.
No, future commissioner, I should say, sorry. Bobby Montague. Robert Bobby Montague is the future Minister of National Security, and he's the Commissioner of Police.
I differ. I say Sophia Longmore. Anyhow, that said, that's I love the ladies. So all right. But that said, I really hope and pray that we can basically recalibrate and get this transportation system together. Because all of us who have a vested interest in this rock called Jamaica, we must either directly or remotely understand the impact of the sector and recognize in all of that this sector could very well allow Jamaica to swim or sink. It can bring Jamaica to its knees. We hope not, and we hope good sense will prevail. Mr. Barton basically seeing things in bold terms, where he's envisioning this overhauling of the sector. Against that background, however, I think that we need to have an ABC approach at the outset to basically sort of, get what we have going now under control, and then we can build on those pillars. I wish and hope for all of you a wonderful rest of the night, going into tomorrow, Sunday, and a very, very productive week. And we hope that the good sense will prevail. The government of Jamaica, led by Andrew Michael Holness, Brogard, the first independent, post-independent Prime Minister, we hope that he will listen. We know that he has proven time and time again that he doesn't listen well, but we're hoping that based on the import of this sector, he will listen. I'm hoping that Audley Shaw, who seems to be out on his way out of the cabinet, will get this one fixed before he demits office in the next couple of weeks or so, because I envisage that we'll have a cabinet reshuffle by then. God bless you all. Thanks for having me.
You sound like the former GG, the late St. Flowers Glasgow.
And also, before I go, let me just make a final plug. Join me Monday morning, 9 o'clock sharp, New Start 93 FM. For those of you who are listening overseas, www.newstart93 FM, and indeed on the Conrad O'Brien Facebook page. God bless you.
You sound like the late Gigi Sir Flowers Earl Glasgow, who said, God bless you all.
And you know that I like to tear, but most of all,
yes, he said that he's a man of great feminine brother.
But you like to tear, but you also like to press.
He said he liked to tear draws. Anyway, Jeffrey, behave yourself this evening. Gentlemen, it was a pleasure having you on. The hard-working, good friend, Reverend Finnegan, a man who see a cause and decide to step towards that cause and decide that enough is enough, take up this mantle to speak out for the poor, pauperizing bus and taxi drivers of this country, I lift my hat to you, sir. And I hope and pray that everyone on the sound of my voice, whether you're PNP, JLP, NDM, or Never Dare Move, or UCIC or NOC, will come together and rally around a single cause and a single purpose. That this country is in need of serious help. As I said on a different radio program, that Prime Minister Michael Andrew Holness alone can't solve Jamaica's crime problem. Mark Jefferson Golden cannot solve Jamaica's crime problem. The Commissioner of Police cannot solve it either. It lies in the hands of we the people.
But then get paid, so they must do their work.
It lies in the hands of we the people.
Nah, buy that, then get paid, do the work.
Lord, I allow you to speak, Conrad, allow me to speak. We the people, yeah, I can lose my train of thought, you know.
You say only we can make the change, yeah.
Can only make the change that we seek in this country. And the change that we seek in Jamaica will never come from the People's National Party or the Jamaica Labour Party. The change that we seek in our country comes from us, whether we're in Jamaica or outside of Jamaica. The change that we seek, Jamaicans, members of the transport sector, the change that we seek in the transport sector, the change that we seek in this country come from us as a people, we the people. Rise up, my fellow Jamaicans. Speak out, stand up. It is your fundamental rights to speak out. It is your fundamental right for a peaceful assembly. And the time has come for this blessed rock. We came here by labor pain. We didn't come here by aeroplane. As my good friend, Dr. Sidney Harvey Banks of the Cayman Islands said to me, we come by labor pain to this rock called Jamaica. We didn't come here by aeroplane, like some of them who believe that Jamaica belongs to them and Jamaica don't belongs to we. I say to you all tonight, the ticketing system in this country has a major glitch. And the government knows about the glitch. And in no other modern democracy, and then the government continue to rape the people of this country by telling them they must go and pay it. No other modern democracy this can happen. Only in Jamaica. We have the rights. Same way we can come together for World Cup football. Same way we can come together and rally around Shelley and Fraser Price, Usain Bolt. Rally around a single cause for the fundamental change that we seek in this country. I am not a member of any political party, nor do I want to be a member of any political party. I am a Jamaican, and Jamaica come first for me. And we must speak out for the poor class of Jamaicans who can't speak for themselves. Jamaicans who are going to their bed with only a lucky gal, and look rice, or a hard dough bread, while the country money is blundered away. while poor people money is blundered by governments after governments, party after party. High-level delegation gone this and gone that. Until now, they can't tell us how much money was spent for the job of the chat for the Commonwealth.
Don't forget how much $100 US dollar taxi became the party.
And they have big cake. The Maritime Institute. And they can't tell us how much money. Until now, the case between the Petrojam people them can't come up. The case between Royal Reed, hold on, Conrad. The case between Royal Reed can't come up. And now Royal Reed still getting paid on pushing the poor pauperizing bus and taxi drivers against the wall of this country. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, be ye careful. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, be ye careful of what you're doing.
One but the 140 million Nutribon Bulla money, where there?
Not only that, what about the money? The PAD program money that is being stifled off. We need a forensic audit done by the Ministry of Labor. You people are putting the people of this country back against the wall. Look how much money is being given to Jamaica for COVID-19, for coronavirus. Where the money disappear to? Huh? And yet you all are banking on the money you not collect from the poor pauperizing bus and taxi drivers. And you all know that the system has a major glitch in it. What happened? When you collect the money, you not share up between your friends and cronies. I don't know plan for you.
Yeah, man.
My fellow Jamaicans from Negril Point to Moran Point, people on my YouTube channel, share this link. Share it. My fellow Jamaicans from Negril Point to Moran Point, rise up. Jamaica is becoming a dictatorship. The Minister of Justice knows that the system is not right, but yet he's encouraging the poor pauperizing bus and taxi drivers to go out there and borrow money to pay off tickets. They allow the system to accumulate so much money, to accumulate so much tickets. They allow it. No, it can't be paid. I'm not talking about locking up people. Why don't you put them in a King's house and Jamaica house? And Vera where Duppy live? Where Vera brought down so? Nobody live in a Vera. Yet money is being put away every year or every whatever to upkeep Vera Oil. And look at Vera Oil. Huh? So much money has been going away, being stifled off.
You take up that tomorrow.
And my God Almighty, on the dung in the poor pauperizing bus and taxi drivers back to pay off tickets. Be careful what you're doing, you know. Because the Bible said, you know, the heirs of the poor, God will never, ever forget. When poor people cry, you know, Michael Andrew Holness, Delroy Truck, Minister of National Security, where him name again, Harris Chang. Be careful when you make poor people cry in this country. You not eat no shit before you're dead.
Jeffrey.
Don't ask about Jeffrey, I said it. This is where I say so long from here. I want to apologize for what I said. I'm not name on the field before the dead. For all those whose cares have been our cause, the work goes on, the cause endure, the hope still lives, and the dream for a better Jamaica shall never die. I leave with the song of Ernest Smith. I do not own the rights to this song, but I leave with the song of Ernest Smith as we fight for the power and the glory. May God bless you. May God bless Jamaica land we love. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. Until you hear my voice again, come Tuesday on Rose 96.1 FM.
And as we fight one another for the power and the glory, the kingdom goes to waste. We the people want to know just where we're going. I know we have our tied behind the back, while certain people, if ungotten, where do we stand? We have too far to go, not to really know just how we're getting there. And if we're getting anywhere, we have to stability. Violence and crime is commonplace in these said times. No man walk free. Prophecy come closer to fulfillment in these dread times. Why should this be? And as we fight one another,